This is the flagship station of the world champion Boston Celtics. WBZ-FM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
The Patriots are missing only starting offensive lineman Sidney So during their first practice of the week yesterday in Foxborough. The home opener is this Sunday against Seattle. The Seahawks were without top running back Kenneth Walker yesterday, among others, and Gerard Mayo has a lot of respect for that guy.
He doesn't get a lot of hype. I don't know what his Madden rating is or anything like that, but when you turn on the film, like, this guy pops off the film.
Week 2 of the NFL season begins tonight in South Florida with Miami hosting Buffalo. The NFL Network and others are reporting it looks like San Francisco top gun Christian McCaffrey is a long shot to play this weekend for the 49ers thanks to Achilles and calf problems. As for the Red Sox, they took 2 out of 3 from a good playoff team this week. Tyler O'Neill's walk-off 3-run homer over everything and left handed them a 5-3 win over the Orioles in 10 innings. They're still 4 games out of a playoff spot. They open up a 4-game series at Yankee Stadium tonight. In other Sox news, James Paxton said yesterday he's planning on retiring after the season is over. And in college news, the Pac-12 Conference is ready to rebuild after losing almost all of their schools in the last 2 years. Yahoo Sports is reporting this morning they're looking to add Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, and San Diego State by 2026. They'll join Oregon State and Washington State. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Rapid Flow Sewer and Drain Cleaning. A tree root may be damaging your sewer line, so do what Beetle did and get the permanent fix before winter. 800-286-FLOW or rapidflowinc.com. With Rapid Flow, one call solves it all. I'm John Wallach at Boston Toll for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
This is Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown turns the corner. Finger roll is up and good. Scoring the foul.
Listen to home of the Boston Celtics, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Afraid, hello. Hello. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
He's naked. He has a sword.
Oopity up with a football.
98.5. The Hub.
Bruins are back from the West Coast.
Cocaine and hookers. Yes. Na 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 na.
Is it okay to use this for the radio?
Yeah. Welcome to the show, you sweet bitch.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy, Town Fair Tire Studios, 617-779-0985. Brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Make every moment more with DraftKings. You can watch us on YouTube. Just search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. FanDuel. Oh, geez. Hey, we're brought to you by FanDuel. I'm still going for the meeting. We're brought to you by FanDuel. Maybe I do need those sheets. We're brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel. I've said that now. But DraftKings is a sponsor of some other stuff. Yeah. So it's not like it's just out of the blue. But, yes, I missed yesterday's show. It was the first time this year I had taken a sick day. My goal was to go the year to, because I was in negative sick days. If we have I don't know if other people have that. You probably do, but there's a third-party HR site that like gives us our checks and keeps track of our vacation, which is not ideal because I know I have a vacation day that's unaccounted for, but I don't think management agrees with me. But I know I do in every scenario. Like, it's not just my calendar; it's the days, the hours I've taken, plus the hours I have coming up at Christmas, leave 8 hours. Mm-hmm. So, like, I definitely have that vacation day. So I'm going to have to get into that. I mean, that's going to be a real, you know what, a real Donnybrook
thing
with the people. But going into at the end of last summer, because of the thing with my throat, basically because I missed 5 weeks of work, is that I was well into the red. Well into the negative sick days. So by a couple days ago, I had accrued, I don't know what, 3 sick days. I mean, I had gone from I was in the black. That's the term, right?
Yeah. When you have a positive number of sick days, yeah, then you're in the black. Like Black Friday. That is they say that's when retailers start earning money, for the year. That's why it's called Black Friday. They make a bunch of money starting on that day throughout the rest of the year.
Oh.
Okay. So have you been monitoring your sick days, just waiting until you have positive sick days and then magically you got sick on that day, Fred?
No, because I'm well into the black.
Oh, you're well into the black now.
Yeah. So
have been for some time.
I have been, yeah. So I said like maybe 36 to 44 hours of sick time, which is probably about 1/10 of what you guys have, because it accrues. Mm-hmm. But I had, but I was like, I mean, that was a sick day that I took. That was, yeah, and you are right, Hardy. I took a sick. The goal was like, let's take a nice Wednesday.
I was just going to say, of all the days to take.
Well, it's smart to do it that way because no one's going to suspect.
No one's the wiser.
Yeah, they're like, oh, he must really be sick. Wink, wink.
Yeah, exactly. Like I had a wild Tuesday night, and it was crazy. I couldn't get enough. No, what happened is, all right. If you must know, I'll tell you. Is so. I do the show on Tuesday and I feel fine. And then I go home and I have like a little bit of trouble sleeping. Who cares? But as you know, I was drinking up to 10 diet sodas a day. So I've cut way back, like to like 3, maybe 4 if I go out to eat, because all I can have is diet. I'm not drinking water with dinner. That's disgusting. And so I will have a couple of these probiotic sodas. I have oatmeal or that Asia pudding or whatever it is that for breakfast. So my son, and then if I have a salad or something, my stomach gets like a little going on. But I had I went and I started, my stomach started bothering me, but that's nothing new that's happening. And then throughout the day, I started to get achy and hot, and I went, oh no, I have COVID. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna die. No, I thought maybe I have COVID because everyone's getting it now, and I tested myself for COVID. I did not have it, so I said, all right. And then I just, as the day went on, I fever,
mm-hmm.
And
did you spike like a 103? What are we talking?
No, I didn't get that high. Like 101.9 was the highest that
mm-hmm.
it was. 101.9. I don't think I got the 102, but it was in Celsius, so I had to do the thing on the internet.
I had to do a conversion.
I'm impressed that you have a thermometer.
I have 2 kids, and it's an ear thermometer. So
okay.
I do need a thermometer.
We got the one that you put on the forehead. That one.
Garbage.
Those don't work, stupid.
I have kids too, but I don't. If you told me like, you gotta take the kid's temperature, I'm like, I don't know where it is, because I think maybe when Katie was a baby, we bought like a good thermometer because she was sick all the time before she had her her ear surgery, and that thing lasted probably 5 years. And after that, I'm like, well, we're not going to spend another, $200 on one of these really nice thermometers. And we started buying like just cheap ones, like the under the tongue, old, and they're all digital now anyway. So, but even those, I'm like, I would go to CVS when one of the kids are sick. I'm like, Jesus, $25 for a frickin', thing wrapped in a piece of plastic on a piece of cardboard. I'm like, that's enough. That'll work. But then you treat it as such. It's like, this isn't even really that valuable, and they just go missing.
Yeah. My daughter needs to be checked sometimes to see the severity of the illness she's claiming. So my son is pretty legit. My daughter, I sometimes you got to check my daughter. But it's funny because, like, one time, she was like, I don't feel well. This is when she was like, she's probably about like 8, 9. And she's like, I don't feel well. And we're like, all right, Zoe, like, okay, you don't have a fever or anything. And all of a sudden, her face swelled up. We're like almost like her nose and mouth were covered by her cheeks. It was more funny than anything else. She turned out to be allergic to amoxicillin. Oh. So because she had something, and then she was like, I don't feel good. We're like, oh, we're already giving you amoxicillin. Like, all right, Zoe, you're already giving you amoxicillin. And she's like, I don't feel good. And we're like, okay. And then all of a sudden I turn around and I'm like, dear God, your face has gone over itself. So we do take her a little bit more seriously. But, if you said every time Zoe, she usually doesn't press the issue, but every time Zoe says like, oh, I don't know if I should go to school tomorrow, you got to be like, all right, well, if you have, and she goes, if I have a fever that you can't let me in, that school says if I have a fever the night before you can't let me in. So like she not so much anymore, but she would like go like fingers crossed.
See, I think some of that is the second child syndrome, and she's taken it upon herself maybe to, try and communicate the severity of whatever she's suffering through, because she's the second kid and maybe they get ignored a little bit. For our second, for Calvin, he's just given up. I mean, I think sometimes he's really sick, but he has been trained since infancy. When there was all this red stuff in his diaper, and we thought, maybe he just ate a crayon or something. I mean, he was 4 weeks old. He wasn't eating anything other than, breast milk. And we took him to the doctor, and they're like, wow, he's got a lot of blood in his stool. We're like, oh, is that what that red stuff is? Had it been Katie, we would have been living at the hospital. But for him, we're like, whatever. He seems okay. And that kid, I mean, he's had the broken arm. He's had all this stuff, comes running into the house crying. I'm like, oh, Jesus, what now? His arm is like hanging at, just this crazy ass angle. I'm like, oh, God. All right, get yourself in the car. We'll leave it a couple minutes after Jeopardy's over. Then we'll go. Let's go. Poor kids.
We have to watch these 3 episodes we take. We'll be right back.
Yeah,
I'm rolling.
So now oh, Jesus. Really, right at the second daily double, you fall off the monkey bars. Thanks. So now he just doesn't even complain anymore. I think there's some days he's really sick, but he's like, it's not going to make a difference.
He's going to make a woman very happy one day. He's going to be like, he's like, sure thing. Yep. I don't know. Okay. Can I? Like one of these guys, like, sorry, I took you to the wrong movie.
Does this look infected? Oh, Jesus, yes. How long has that been like that? A long time, I think. Oh, God. All right. Well, do something.
Yeah.
I think there's some Neosporin where the thermometer should be. Go ahead. Look in there.
Yeah, there is a lot to that, because with my son, when he was like a baby, like if he got a temperature, we would like take him to the hospital. I look back on it, it was ridiculous. It was Zoe. She didn't even walk until she was just like right about 2. And we just asked someone, is this all right? And they're like, she just doesn't want to walk. And we were like, all right, who cares? Dude. If that was Milo, we would have been like, like flying him out to specialists and stuff.
Calvin had a school project where he needed, this is about my life. This whole diagram of things that the outward world sees and things that only you know about. So he needed like photos of him as a baby. He's like, do you have any of my baby pictures? I'm like, no. I had to I maybe go on to a hard drive on a computer 2 computers ago, which is in a closet in the basement if I didn't throw it away. Sorry, kid. No readily available baby photos of you, number 2. You want some of your sister? They're all over the house. They're still framed.
Can you imagine?
Blown up into canvas prints from CVS.
Oh, he's going to grow up just fine.
You're
fine. I wouldn't worry about it at all.
Imagine if
Daddy doesn't have any baby pictures of you on his phone.
Imagine if they had a third. I mean,
I know. No. That one just gets left alone in the room for about 4 days.
No, or Calvin is even more ignored.
Oh, that's a good point. It could go the other way. That's a good point.
Well, that's what the dog has become. The dog becomes the third. So, yeah, the dog has not helped his attention level.
Yeah.
It's only dropped.
Yeah.
Set aside some bail money.
All right. We'll be back. We'll do what happened last night. A ton to talk about today, actually. There's a lot of weird stuff happened. Plus, Did you guys talk about what we're doing today at all yesterday?
I don't think we did.
No.
We have something that could easily go sideways.
Well, because Fred, and instinct-wise, radio-wise, in any other world, with any other two people, we would have been promoting this for a week or for as long as we've been thinking about it. But there was the nagging notion in the back of my mind that it may not actually go down.
So if you want to hear something that could go easily sideways, be listening this morning at 8 o'clock, because we are going to have two people in to debate. I won't tell you who they are yet, but we did not tape this, so this is going to be live.
Yes.
And it could easily be a disaster.
If they show up.
Although I think they'll show up.
We know one guy's definitely showing up.
I think both of them were pretty confident showing up. Yeah.
You know what? That'll be a discussion leading into when we announce it, who we're more confident in showing up.
Okay. We will have that
good.
for you.
Yeah.
We'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening.
poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
Did you catch a game last night?
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Did you see what Tyreek Hill said about the incident?
Yes.
Where, again, it started off with him not rolling down his window, and then the police officer, just them going back and forth about why he didn't have a seatbelt on. And then Tyreek Hill rolled up the window again. We had discussed if you're a police officer, and Tyreek Hill was like, "Don't knock on my window."
Yes.
But he had tinted out windows, and the thing is, if you're a police officer, you pull someone over, you got to know they don't have a gun.
Yeah.
Like, you got to know you're not in danger. But then they put him on the ground and everything, and who knows about that. The Calais Campbell thing was weirder. But Hill says,
Do you want to hear it? I got it right here.
Yeah, there's a certain part I want to hear, but go ahead.
I have family members who are cops. We've had conversations. Yes, I will say I could have been better. I could have let down my window, in that instant. But the thing about me is, man, I don't want attention. I don't want to be like cameras out, phones on you, in that moment.
Okay, turn on. So you're concerned with putting the window down was that camera phones were going to be on you? Well, what about the police officer who is needs to see that you're not going to kill him?
No.
On the account of when he pulls people over.
Given the choice between those two evils, I think someone trying to get a video of Tyreek Hill is more evil than anything that could happen to a police officer during a traffic stop, Fred. How dare you?
I mean, that's the most. Boy, are these guys narcissistic. I'm not. Listen, I don't want to obey the police officer because I'm not. I don't want attention. I'm so humble. All right,
the thing about me is, man, I don't want attention. I don't want to be.
That in and of itself is funny.
Like cameras out, phones on you, in that moment. But
maybe you don't want attention. Maybe don't drive a $300,000 car while weaving through traffic.
Well, that just shows the anonymity. I mean, that's Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
I mean, every rich guy's got to do it. That's why Warren Buffett has that house in like Lincoln, Nebraska that he's owned since he was 20.
Yeah, because
he really wants attention.
At the end of the day, I'm human. I gotta follow rules. I gotta do what everyone else would do.
All right. Wait. First of all, usually when you say I'm human, you say I make mistakes. He's like, guys, listen, I'm human, so I have to follow rules. Like, being a human.
My therapist has told me that in a functioning society, I can't behave like a sociopath.
Like a lot of you guys, well, I'm going to get to that because he says stuff. I'm like, all right, dude. But listen, he's human.
Right.
So, guys, listen. I know you think I'm a superstar on the account of fast, but I am human. Okay. The many, many things I've been alleged of doing that are terrible.
Do what, everyone else would do, So now, does that give them the right to literally beat the dog out of me? Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, I wish I could go back and do things a bit differently.
Okay, and then he goes on to say that he wants the guy fired. Gone. He's got to go, man.
Yeah. Cheetah doesn't normally say that people got to go, but he's got to go.
And what the thing is if you're him.
That's a quote, by the way. He referred to himself as Cheetah in third person.
Yeah,
perfect.
and by the way, if you are Tyreek Hill, and now the precedent is if you make him say the police officer made a mistake, he went too in on it. He overreacted. Certainly, he was a little provoked, but Tyreek Hill is playing in the NFL. Here are the things that Tyreek Hill could have been fired for. Domestic assault conviction in 2014. Child abuse investigation in 2019. Assault investigation in 2023. Paternity lawsuits. A woman filed a civil lawsuit saying that he had broken her leg during a football lesson. That seems a little fishy. Because, again, we you showed me the model. She's a very specific model, and she says that she held her own for a couple plays, and that infuriated Tyreek. So he became very physical. And then when you showed me her, I'm like, I don't think that she's going up against an NFL athlete and putting up much of a fight in terms of playing football on the field, not in terms of them fighting.
Sure. I'm pretty sure. Well, never mind.
So, yeah. Watch yourself. So now I'll be that guy. So the deal is this: is that
I appreciate it.
Tyreek Hill has been forgiven for many things he's been accused of, including breaking his child's arm. Wouldn't you say, like, all right, I had something to do with this, the guy overreacted, and I don't know if he beat the dog out of him. I mean, the guy had a successful professional football game couple hours later. I don't know if he was severely beaten, if that would have been the case. But wouldn't you have I guess you wouldn't if you're him, but wouldn't you have the presence in the kind of the reflection to say, you know what, I've been forgiven an awful lot of times. Like, I have the opportunity to play professional football and make all this money in a league where if I was not as talented, there's a good chance that any one of these things would have got me removed. I have a history of not being a very good guy, that you would have some presence of mind to go, like, you know what, maybe I should be on the side of don't lose your job.
Yeah, saying less about it.
Not saying less, just say all you want, just not wanting the guy to lose his job. Like, you never lost your job. Like, you still have a job.
See, that to me is the complete lack of awareness. Mm-hmm. And that's what stuck out to me too. It's like, I don't call, you know me, I don't call for people to be on their way out, but he's got to go. Like, dude, you are so lucky to be playing professional football right now. The number of times you should have been removed from the game for the stuff that you've done, or the things that we're all pretty sure that you did, that the league said, you know what, can't really do it, no, uncooperative witness, this, that, and the other. Fine, you've been afforded many opportunities, second, third, fourth chances to earn an incredible living. This guy did this to you and to Khalil. There's no one out there saying, some people are out there saying, because you know how this works, Fred, you're not allowed to be in the middle anymore. We had a lot of people calling in yesterday saying, this is ridiculous. The cops have every right to do that. And it's like, hey, man, it's okay. It's okay to say that Tyreek Hill screwed up, and it's okay to say the cops screwed up too, that both are at fault in this. However, for Tyreek Hill to then turn around and say, he's got to go, he can't have his job, he can't earn a livelihood anymore because of this. Like, look in the mirror, man. What planet are you living on? The one where he calls himself Cheetah and talks about these things like they're ethereal concepts about how you have to behave like other humans do. Like, oh, what a notion. What an amazing concept, Tyreek.
And again, it's funny because usually people go, I'm human, I make mistakes, instead of it's like, I'm human. So, I'm the greatest.
So I'm supposed to do other things that other humans do.
Yeah, like a lot of people don't realize that. But you would think that when you were afforded second, third, fourth chances, that you would be of the mind to afford second chances.
He's got no humility about this at all.
No, I don't think things are going to end up very well for Tyreek Hill. I think that Tyreek Hill...
You mean he's going to get in trouble again?
Yeah, and not because he's necessarily like some evil criminal, but just the level of narcissism and almost like Christ posing from this guy. Just, I don't think that when you have that kind of money and you have that attitude, like, you're going to and you believe that you are so much above everyone else that there's no, and you're not particularly smart, that you're going to end up screwing up like a lot.
And I thought maybe he was going to go the other direction. In the post game immediately after the game in Miami, he said, that was crazy, but bygones be bygones, and, just kind of let it go. And behind the scenes, there may have been some more talk, and maybe they would have wanted a fuller explanation from the police department. But after that officer was, placed on leave or suspended, whatever, I thought, oh, maybe he's going to be satisfied with that. No, there he was yesterday saying that guy.
Well, what I think happened is probably during the game he didn't know that anyone wasn't going to take his side, or anyone was going to take his side, right? He probably thought that most people were going to take the cop's side because he probably knows, like, I had to put down the window. He probably knows that he was pushing it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been arrested a bunch of times. Like, you got to figure he knows what's going on.
I figure he's been pulled over before, like everybody has. Like this whole argument about whether or not legally you have to put your window down. How about common sense?
Wait, you have to put your window down.
Okay, well, just get ready for people to tell you on your email and
If you have
socials.
tinted windows and they can't see in your car, you don't have to put down your windows?
In the state of Florida, there's different window tint laws, but no, there's no law in Florida that says you have to. I'm like, oh,
Wait,
shut up.
whoa. So if the police officer asks you to put down your window,
Fred,
when they say you've broken the law, they don't have to put down their window?
I say you do. I say, as a common sense person, when I get pulled over, the first thing I do is put my window down and put my hands at 10 and 2.
All right, so people told you that in Florida you don't have to put down your window.
Yes.
Okay, so how do you get a ticket?
You've seen these people online. You've seen these videos where people, well, the amendment people videotape interactions with police officers where they won't hand over their ID, and they know all these obscurities to different laws about things that they do, and the cop sees that he's being recorded, and after 40 minutes of arguing the minutia of different laws and rights and all that stuff, cops will sometimes let these people go because all they did was, pull them over for going 10 miles an hour.
But the windows down.
I don't know. I don't know what the law in Florida is, but there are people saying yesterday there's no law that specifically states you have to put your window down.
Okay, well, that seems... If you can't see into a car, you pull them over, and you can't see into a car, and you have them breaking the law, then there's no way to A, give them the ticket, B, get their license and registration, and do anything. So if you're in Florida, then you're telling me legally, you know how they say, like, never blow into, like, a breathalyzer?
Yes.
Like, so you're telling me if I'm in Florida, tint your windows, do whatever you want, and then when they pull you over, just go, you can't see me, and I'm not putting down the window, and there's nothing you can do to me.
One of our libertarian listeners to call in and educate us, because I'm sure there are all kinds of things that we all think that we have to do, but technically, you don't have to do that. No, technically, you don't. Technically, you might get your ass dragged out of your car and handcuffed and then released 20 minutes later and then be in this mess. You're right. Technically, you don't have to.
I'm not positive that's the case.
Well,
I don't see any sense in that at all.
Because if you don't put down your window, then what do? Then they have to be able to open up your door. It's not like going into your house without a warrant.
Say, once the door is open, that is a chance to escalate a hell of a lot more instead of if your window is down.
That's not like stand your ground stuff. That's not like you need a warrant to enter my car.
This was
to search the car. You need a warrant, like a written permission or something.
There was something years ago I remember because I can't remember where I was living. It was maybe in New Mexico where there are a series of like really bad crimes, people getting violently confronted on roads, on like rural desert roads. And there was a thing on the news that said, listen, if you're ever unsure about who is stopping you, it is within your right, if you're being pulled over, to drive to the nearest police station and not stop until you get there. So there are weird things on the books that do afford you rights in certain situations. To me, I would just operate under the belief that you got to put your window down when a cop tells you to put your window down. But other people are going to argue differently, Fred. And they're going to have stuff to back it up.
Yeah, but I'm not positive that like in Newton, if you get pulled over, you can just like take off and just like go like
drive to the police station.
Yeah, because then they don't know where you're going, and there's going to be 15 police cars that are surrounding you, and that doesn't sound legitimate. And I know part of the law because it goes the glove compartment is locked, so is the trunk in the back, and I know my rights. So you're going to need a warrant for that, and that's 99 problems. But at least he pulled over and rolled down the window.
Hit me.
You know, You're crazy for this one. Vic, go ahead.
You're crazy for this one, Rick.
Rick?
This is such a missed opportunity for Tyreek to take advantage of the situation and work with the cops and just, he's going to get in trouble again eventually, but, whatever to get out of free jail cards he might have are probably gone out the window now.
Well, that's the thing is that, like, he remember when it first came out and his agent was saying, Tyreek was telling him how he'd always wanted to be a police officer and how much he wanted to be a police officer when he retired. He said, well, I say, this is not going to do you any favors at the academy. I mean, his agent just made that up, by the way. There's body cam footage. He doesn't say anything remotely like that. And
unless he still gets in because he demonstrates a certain ability to do sound effects, or he's got a propensity for carrying his own firearms. The police academy looks for different qualities in different candidates.
Oh, especially for their Citizens on Patrol program. John from Florida. John, go ahead.
Hey, Fred. So I just moved down here to Florida, and it's a disobeying law order. So if you disobey an order from a cop, you get it's a misdemeanor. So the cops are allowed to touch the window. That cop definitely knocked on the window, but they're allowed to touch the window to leave fingerprints or evidence just in case anything were to happen. So that's just my 2 cents.
Wait. But are you aware of anything that you don't have to you don't have to roll the window down?
You have to roll the window down. You can look it up.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
otherwise, you're not obeying to the cops. So that's a misdemeanor right then and there.
Well, it's unsafe. Like, what if there's an Amber Alert and they pull you over because you match the description of a vehicle that just kidnapped 2 kids? You can pull over and not roll down the window? Like I mean, that's insane. What would be the purpose of that? How is that violating your rights? And believe me, if you've listened to this show, my theory on things is I want to be left alone for the most part from everything. I want my money to do well in the market, and I want to be left alone. But I do want to be protected. And I certainly see the need for police and firemen and things of that nature. This whole notion of not having police officers is so ludicrous that it's unfathomable. But I don't know, whatever. I mean, then you don't care about things happening. It's just one of these things. Is that like if you have tinted windows or anything, in the police officer wants to see that you don't have a weapon, because these guys get shot. If they pull over a guy, they don't know if the guy's got 40 years worth of cocaine, like a 40-year bid in cocaine in the back of his car, and he's got a firearm. He's gonna flip out and he might shoot the cop. Cop's got to know what's going on. He's got to see what's going on in there. The guy makes a sudden move. He's got to be able to draw his weapon. That's why they have weapons. All right, Tim, go ahead.
All right, so I'm no libertarian bozo, but you got to know your rights. Everybody needs to know their rights. He complied when he rolled down his window to give his license and registration. The interaction is done then. You don't need to leave your window open at that point. You've complied. There's nothing that says you got to keep your window open. If he didn't roll down his window,
what if it's tinted though?
Then that's Florida regulations that you are allowed a darker tint than you are in Massachusetts.
Okay, but you have to roll your window. You have to roll your window down initially.
Well, yes, and you need to roll it down enough that you can give your license, registration, and insurance. But from there, you've cooperated with the officer for the interaction that you've had. And it's the same thing as, like Hardy said earlier, anybody who's being pulled over at an unsafe spot, and cops yell at people all the time for this, it's everyone's right, and it's probably the right thing to do for the cop to pull over somewhere safe for both of you.
Right. Okay, but no, getting back to, you sound like you know what you're talking about. So, like, if I roll down my window enough and hand him my license and insurance, I can roll my window back up. The idea being he goes to his car to, like, look me up.
Yes. Now, if you've given him any other reason, if you're slurred speech, if they smell alcohol, if they smell drugs, well, now you've accelerated that interaction to a second point where they could say, okay, now they have probable cause to roll your window down because they're no longer now The interaction is no longer a simple speeding ticket. The interaction is now something else.
Okay, so the basically the law on tinted windows when they have them is for that very reason, is that it's unsafe.
Well, and it's,
go ahead.
Yes, so you can see what's going on there.
Yeah,
Florida, you see people all the time here get pulled over and they pull out the tint sticks because Florida has a drastically darker tint.
No, believe me.
They do in Mass.
Believe me, I went to college there. I was in Central Florida. Don't think I didn't know about the tints. Oh my goodness! I had a good friend of mine who had a button in his car that said Turbo Booster, and I don't know what the hell that was supposed to do. All right, thank you, Tim. Again,
we were talking about this last night and talked about how if a cop pulls you over here in Massachusetts, they carry like a little scraper, and if they check your window tint and it doesn't comply, they can put a big scratch across your inspection sticker, which means you are no longer valid and you have to go. And I was talking to a buddy of mine last night who said it was my son's car who he had purchased from a state trooper. It was the trooper's, personal car, and he had the windows tinted, got pulled over. They scratched, I think, the inspection sticker. Like, what does that mean? It means you're no longer valid. You got to take this window tint off and then go get it re-inspected and re-verified. Like, how'd you do it? He said, we took the tint off. I said, yourselves? Yep. How? With a scraper and Windex and ammonia and just scraped all the tint
I wonder how long that took. Jesus.
I don't know if I don't like that. If I want to tint the iRock windows, I mean, come on. Come on, copper. Let me have this tint. That's going too far. Then you should be fired. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
It'll be the Patriots in Seattle this Sunday in Foxborough in the home opener for the Patriots. They held their first practice of the week yesterday. Offensive lineman City So, the only player missing. In other NFL news, Buffalo visits Miami tonight. The Dolphins' Tyreek Hill told the media yesterday that while he could have handled his Sunday traffic stop differently, he still wants the original officer that approached him and helped throw him to the ground fired. And the Red Sox got a 3-run homer from Tyler O'Neill in the bottom of the 10th inning to beat Baltimore 5-3 at Fenway Park last night. They're still 4 games out of a playoff spot. They'll visit Yankee Stadium this evening. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the 49th Annual New Hampshire Highland Games and Festival. Get your Scott on September 20th to the 22nd at Loon Mountain Resort in Lincoln, New Hampshire. Get details and tickets at nhscott.org. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
This year, FanDuel is giving you a chance to win big every Thursday night with FanDuel Squares. It's just like Super Bowl squares, but this is better because your numbers aren't randomly assigned. You pick them yourself, and you can pick as many as you want, and you'll get to see the odds beforehand, and then you can bet them live during the game. How about that? So go to FanDuel.com/Hardy, where you can bet on squares. Plus, if you're new to FanDuel, you get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. 21 and over and present in Massachusetts. First online real money wager. Only $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Hope is here. GamblingHelplineMA.org. Call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com or call 1-800-GAM-1234.
For every touchdown scored by the home team this season, Blue Bear Plumbing, Heating, and Air is donating $250 to Fisher House Boston. Fisher House Boston gives our veterans and their families a home away from home as they receive medical care in Boston. Let's come together and support our heroes when they need it most. Donate today at bluebearplumbing.com/cares.
For all your heating and cooling needs, you need Endless Energy.
Backpack? Check. School supplies? Check. Lunchbox? Check. School is back, which means the kids are bringing home germs again. Keep your family protected against cold, flu, and COVID with an iWave home air purifier. iWave connects to your HVAC system to kill allergens, viruses, and pathogens, sanitizing your home's air. Contact Endless Energy at 775-ENDLESS or online at goendlessenergy.com and get $100 off your install.
The 988 Lifeline presents Life. It's full of amazing things. Seeing your team win. Seeing your favorite band. But sometimes life can feel overwhelming, whether it's during school or after work.
Kaboom.
Yeah.
Hit somebody. Oh.
We've got a passion for Boston sports.
Get angry.
98.5 The Sports Hub. We're back with Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Coming up at 7 o'clock, there's a lot of funny stuff with Shannon Sharpe. And I respect the man for it. I mean, from what I understand, when I find out more about it, I might change my opinion. But I mean, to my understanding, he didn't do anything wrong, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Nothing illegal or that harmed anyone else.
Sure.
Okay, there you go. So at that point, man, let your freak flag fly. All right, Hardy, what else is going on?
Well, as Wallach has mentioned a couple of times this morning, there was a baseball game last night.
Ooh.
And Manuel Rivera got things going scoring-wise.
Rivera launches one to left field, high into the Boston night, and it will come down in the monster seats. Emmanuel Rivera brings in the first run with a monster shot, and the Orioles have the first run in this series finale.
You know who he's the child of? Black Emmanuel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you remember the Emmanuel films that would be on Friday After Dark, and you were always very disappointed when they came on because it was by far the least attractive, and they tried to be artistic. The Emmanuel films were no young lady Chatterley.
I think Black Emmanuel was 3 or 4. I'm trying to remember which one of the sequels that was.
The only reason I remember is the theme song, which is very specific.
I don't remember that at all.
Black Emmanuel.
No.
They were, you might have been a fan because they were very, very, very unencumbered by breasts.
Okay, but I'm just saying I may have also been at an age. How old were you when you were watching this?
Well, if John knows, I mean, they were made, the films are old.
Okay.
But did you have Cinemax? That's the question.
Yeah.
Okay, so you obviously were familiar with Friday After Dark.
Yeah.
And would you watch it on every Friday?
No, because I think by that age we had access to actual pornography.
You're only 4 years older than me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's still your sweet spot.
16, 17? Were you 12 or 13 when you were watching those?
There it is. Yeah.
Listen how serious they took this. It's like, dude, I'm 14. I'm just trying to get one out. Like, can we get to the nudity?
Yeah.
I was still watching Friday After Dark at 16, 17. Like, I only had a penthouse, which I lit on fire in the bathroom in a state of mental decline. And then I had a Jugs and an AVN.
Whoa.
I've discussed this before.
You set the penthouse on fire?
I was so disgusted with myself, like after a particularly
session?
prolific day, that I went to the bathroom and I lit it on fire. But the thing was, it was a glossy.
Oh God!
Okay.
So it
a lot of dark smoke.
Like if you light the Jugs, it's just going up. Or if you lit a Swank, that was just gonna, or a Screw magazine, that was just news.
Sure.
Al Goldstein was a multimillionaire.
That guy could barely breathe.
No,
that guy was fat, overweight.
Yeah, but you know what he would tell you?
Yeah.
He'd tell you he's scum.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was proud of it.
Oh, no.
Take all your power away to criticize him when you just admit it.
I think he liked to be treated a little rough. Yeah. So like I got like, I don't know, like I like after a prolific day with the penthouse, I like got disgusted with myself, and I walked into the bathroom and I lit it on fire because I knew I couldn't tear it. It was glossy.
Yeah.
I just started smoking.
Yeah.
So my we didn't have the smoke alarms or anything that worked. So my mom, because we were poor, no, just kidding. But my mom came upstairs and she's like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "I'm burning this porn." And she's like, "All right, Freddie."
She was proud of you.
No, there was two things that she just went okay and turned around. One, she came into my room and I was peeing in the trash can, and I was not drunk. I was like a kid,
right?
And like a early teens.
Yeah,
peeing in a trash can, and she was just like
easier than going to the bathroom. I get it.
I'm not positive why I did it, and then burning the penthouse. But she did find the Jugs magazine and made my bed and left it right on top of the pillows. She left the Jugs magazine as if to tell me, "Freddie, I know you have this."
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay." Very good.
That's right, I do. Yeah, back to the Red Sox from last night. Manuel Rivera, he got the scoring going at the beginning. He also was responsible for the Orioles taking the lead when they went to extras, tied at 2, going to the 10th.
A high chopper will get through. A base hit for Emmanuel Rivera. Baltimore chopping his way to his second RBI and to the Orioles' second lead.
What to do? What to do? Well, Tyler O'Neill had an answer for you as he got to the plate. Bottom 10.
Swing and a high drive. Way up there. Way back. Way gone. The Red Sox walk it off at Fenway. T.O. with an absolute moonshot. Number 30. And the Sox take the series against Baltimore. They had to have it. And Tyler O'Neill made sure they did.
First walk-off home run of the season for the Red Sox.
A moonshot in the the moon bats are going crazy. Yeah. What did I tell you about the Tigers?
You said watch out for the Tigers. They are 3 games out now in the wild card race. The Red Sox and Seattle are 4 out.
7 of the last 10, they've won 4 in a row, and they finish with the White Sox.
The Motor City Kitties. Look at them go.
There's a lot of excitement around that team in the area.
Well, it's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah,
for them.
That's what Stain wrote the song about.
Been a while.
And all this ass seems to disappear when I'm with you.
Nice.
Aaron Lewis is a national treasure.
I still can see, because I was actually there when Prince Fielder tripped over his own fat feet running down the third baseline in the ALCS. Like, what are you doing?
What he was doing was eating.
He's
striking out.
Drop 10 pounds and you don't trip over your own fat ankles.
I think it was more than 10 that was needed to be lost.
I'm saying 10 prevents the tripping.
I'm not convinced of that.
And that's
I'm not
almost
willing to go that far.
It's almost unfair to ask him, because Prince's kid now is in the minors, so they're all real heavy. So that's like a genetic situation. So you know what?
Which is weird, because Cecil was svelte. You know, he was almost too thin.
I just think that you're asking him to do something that's more difficult than it is for most people.
Okay.
And not all of us.
Unfair.
Not all of us attack the overweight.
No, that's right. And just because he's a professional athlete doesn't mean I should expect anything more or less.
Thank you. Finally. And his weight cost him something in a game. Still, you shouldn't mention it.
Right.
All right. So we'll be back. We'll get to the Shannon Sharpe thing. It's quite a little scandal, but good for him. We will have that for you in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Cat's Eyes Platinum Home Protection Plan includes a guy that comes over and whistles. And it's, no, it...
It appears they'll do so without Christian McCaffrey. The NFL Network and others are reporting he's a long shot to play thanks to Achilles and calf problems. Tonight, Miami will host Buffalo. Red Sox still hanging in there in the American League wild card race. They got a walk-off 3-run homer from Tyler O'Neill in the bottom of the 10th inning. They beat Baltimore for the second time in 3 nights, 5-3 at Fenway Park. They're still 4 games out of a playoff spot with 16 games to go. They visit Yankee Stadium tonight, and lefty James Paxton said yesterday he's planning on retiring after this season is over. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Eastern Diabetic Care. Are you using a Freestyle or Dexcom continuous glucose monitor to manage your diabetes? Eastern Diabetic Care of New England provides awesome customer support with on-time home delivery of all your supplies. Visit easterndiabetic.com. That's easterndiabetic.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
Let's talk turkey, shall we?
Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, in the sports industry, that's what you say.
Got your talking head right here, buddy.
98.5 The Sports Hub. Dutcher and Hardy, the reviews are in.
I got to stay on and talk about you. Give me about 5 minutes of my time.
Hear what he said. Now more of on the Sports Hub.
When the Beastie Boys could get away with anything. We are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel, and watch us on YouTube. You might as well at 8 o'clock when the wheels come off the show. And we will have our own debate. In honor, surprisingly enough, in honor of the presidential debate that occurred 2 nights ago, we will have our own debate. In featuring two fan favorites. They will be in studio, very rare in studio situation happening. All right, so Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe is living the life. He is part of the whole Stephen A. Smith operation on ESPN. He's got his Club Shay Shay podcast that had the great Cat Williams interview where he told you the real deal with all these comedians and what they've been up to, and it's turning out that a lot of this stuff seems kind of true. He was dismissed as just a madman, but that is not the case, it appears. But what's going on, Hardy, with our host of Club Shay Shay?
So Wednesday morning, there was an Instagram live video that began from Shannon Sharpe's Instagram account. Very quickly, thousands of people tuned in to see what was going on. And what was going on was essentially no real video, just I believe it was a floor, maybe a bedspread.
I thought it was pointed at the floor. It's
pointed at the floor, just foam, but you could hear sounds that were sexual in nature, and that appeared to be an Instagram live of Shannon Sharpe engaged, or from his account of a sex act,
coitus,
if you will. So.
Could you hear the woman, or was it just him going, yeah?
So I'm kind of proud of myself. I've seen the video. I haven't even bothered because the 2 times I tried to look at it, I was, in polite company, so I didn't listen to it. I haven't heard it.
Did we have it? Do we have the Shannon Sharpe, what it sounds like? We got to listen if there's swears.
Yeah, we have to listen, but, that.
I'd like to hear it.
I think
I've got it. Don't you worry.
You have it?
I have it. I have not. I don't know if there are swears here or not.
So no one's listened to it?
No, I've listened to parts of it.
I bet you have.
But
okay.
I don't.
All right, so while we're getting...
I listened to it, yes.
It's in the system?
No.
Oh, no.
So, okay, while we're looking for that, just you tell me, is it mostly a woman moaning with pleasure, or is it Shannon instructing her what to do?
It's both.
Apparently, apparently at the moment of truth, so to speak, there is a growl that can be heard.
Oh, that I did not. I didn't get to the growl.
Well, I'm just reading in some of the comments online.
I listened to about 30 seconds of it.
And it's just is it the woman, or you can hear him?
You can hear him also.
Wow, he's very vocal lover.
Yes.
You got to let the woman know you're enjoying it. That's that's good for their self-esteem.
One user, after viewing the video, said that that man was effing and his phone went live. It's not a big deal, but now we all know that when Shannon climax, he growls. So there's that, but it's just sex. It's not a crime. So
I don't know about that.
So Shannon,
not according to the old BIBLE.
Shannon Sharpe posted hours later, beware, my @ShannonSharpe84 Instagram was hacked this morning. My team and I are working vigorously to figure this out. Unk, because that's his nickname. And
what time of day was this video released, by the way? Was this an afternoon delight?
Yeah, I don't know what Wednesday morning means. Is that like late Tuesday night,
Or
is
was
that
it
early Wednesday morning?
knocking it out at 7:30 in the morning, which sometimes can be the best time. You know, that's when your testosterone levels are the highest as a male, right when you get up.
Yeah, I've read that. Did you learn that at Northeast Men's Health?
Yeah, we talked about a lot of stuff.
Talked about a lot of different things.
I'm like, how can I get this thing going again?
Well, it didn't take long for the hacking story to be backed off, and Shannon Sharpe decided maybe it was just time to come clean with all of this, which he did.
You're desperate play on words.
I didn't even think that way. You're filthy.
That's impressive.
Do we want to hear?
I'm bad.
Before we hear his explanation, do we have the?
Oh, we can't play it. All right, very good.
We got a handshake from the other room.
I'm glad we vetted it. So is it because he swears?
No, it's just not appropriate for air.
Is it just moaning?
It's very pornographic in nature.
So
does he say what he's? Does he say what? Well, who's telling you that? Is it Ryan telling you that?
We have a room full of producers here that are vetting this audio, saying, "Yeah, this is
I trust you to vet the
Yes,
audio.
yeah.
I don't trust Ryan to vet the audio.
Yeah, because
Ryan
he's-
doesn't know what's going on.
Well, because he's so freaky that sometimes the really tame stuff offends him.
Yeah, Ryan seems like a guy that keeps it buttoned up. Because you're allowed to play
But if there's actual bodily noises.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
If she's really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll go in the other room and listen to it.
Oh, good.
I want to hear it. Yeah, I didn't
You
know
should.
how to, but all right. So here is Shannon Sharpe. He backed off of it, and then this is him explaining it on Club Sachet. All right, here he is.
I'm embarrassed for a number of reasons. People count on Shannon. There are a lot of people that count on Shannon to be professional at all times.
All right, at what point do you drop the third person?
Usually when you're done playing football, or usually when you're done playing sports.
And if there's no video of it, who cares? Really, who cares? Big deal. And first of all, you're on Instagram too much. If it automatically goes to Instagram Live, you gotta sign into your phone and scroll over and stuff.
Okay, you go for a second. I'm gonna listen to the actual
Thank
video.
you. So you got to go over there and you got to scroll over and stuff and get it going. You're on. If it just by default goes to Instagram Live, you're on Instagram too.
What are the odds he wanted to record it and accidentally hit the wrong button? Or hit
very, very high.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I don't know how you make the mistake of getting. I guess it looks similar to a camera when you go onto Instagram Live, but you still. I don't know. You still have to be on Instagram.
Obviously, that's what happened.
Yeah, you're
that's
on
what he wanted to record it. He didn't want the camera to point at them.
All right.
So
here's the deal. If that goes live, my first inclination, and they're like, Shannon, you were on Instagram Live having sex. I'm like, oh my God. And the minute I find out there's no visual, I'm like, who cares? Great, I got laid. What do you think? I never get laid? I got laid. Big deal. I want to hear how much she's
the truth
enjoying
will
it.
set you free.
I'll let you know if she's faking. I know these things.
I'm embarrassed for a number of reasons. People count on Shannon. There are a lot of people that count on Shannon to be professional at all times.
Yeah, these women that you're betting.
And I always try to be professional at all times. Even when I'm behind closed doors, I still try to remain a level of professional, although I'm in the privacy of my own home.
Why?
And
I don't really get that.
Why you have to be professional once the doors are closed?
Yeah, that's that's not what professional means.
No one is looking at you. No one is seeing you. Why do you have to maintain professionalism when you go home at night? I don't understand that.
Just have a nice cognac with one of your guests on Club Sachet.
I'm very disappointed in myself, not for the act. I think there are millions and billions of people of consenting age that engage in activities.
Oh, really? Millions of people?
Yeah, I don't know where you get that number.
I mean, maybe a couple dozen. Millions of people?
But to have your most intimate detail.
I can hear it from here.
On the audio to be heard. I'm disappointed in myself. I let them call them. I called my sister.
Okay. Oh, well, that'll solve it. All right. How are we?
I want to play 3 seconds of it.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's 3 seconds.
All right. Oh, I know why he's embarrassed. She's not enjoying it enough.
Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
It's very mild.
That's it. It gets more vocal at the end, and
he gets very vocal.
He gets vocal. Does he tell her how beautiful she is?
I don't remember him saying that. No,
that helps. That's whatever.
Okay.
We don't even know who's slapping who. That's just,
That's a good point. It could be the opposite.
Or if he's just like, high five.
That's what it is.
High five.
Isn't this awesome? High five.
I'm intercoursing. Yay.
Yeah. Finally, maybe he's losing his virginity.
My friends reached out. But, guys, this was not staged. Came in, I threw my phone on the bed, engaged in an activity. I did not know IG Live. I've never been on IG Live. I've never turned IG Live on. So I don't know how it works.
Now, it just so happens, is she even here? If Kendra shows up, that she would know more than anyone because she lives on Instagram, how likely it is that this IG Live situation would happen.
Okay. So I have some thoughts on this because when I'm on Instagram sometimes, if you swipe over to the right and then I see like a live camera of myself, and I think that's where the live button is. I think it's real easy to go live.
Yeah, but if you're about to have sex, you have to like sign into your phone, be on Instagram. So my point was when you were listening to the sex tape, like a perv, that you have to be you're on Instagram too much. Like if that's something that could happen to you, like before you have sex, you're on Instagram way too much.
Fred.
She just sounds like she's tolerating it. You should hear when I'm having sex. It's like, holy moly, Fred, this is good sex.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, my God, I believe in a higher power. Oh, this is why people do this. I never knew such pleasures of the flesh.
All of a sudden, my other phone is going off, and people are calling me.
Why do you have two phones? Guilty of something?
FaceTime that I've never talked to a day in my life on FaceTime. And it didn't, I'm like, why are y'all calling me FaceTime?
Because they wanted to see what was doing.
Yeah. Why would you FaceTime somebody as opposed to just calling or texting them? Hey, why don't you give me like the director's cut of this?
I want to see what you're packing there, Shans.
Let me give it. Yeah, let's have the alternative angle.
Yeah, come on, Shannon. Let's see what's going on.
At least give us a POV. I don't need this staring at the floor with audio only.
I don't want a POV from that. I want on the side. I want to see everything that's going on. I don't want to see it from his perspective. Do you know like when those guys do point of view that they have like a GoPro on their head?
No, is that right?
Oh yeah. How else would they do it? They're not holding a camcorder.
I never really thought about
it. All right, if you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. I've seen some behind the scenes stuff, and a lot of times it's just a handheld that they've got up there.
In modern times?
Well, I don't know how modern within the last few years. Sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Because wouldn't you prefer? Because sometimes I'll see where they use both hands, and then I assume it was just a GoPro.
Well, a lot of that is CGI because the budgets for these have gone through the roof, and they've got millions to spend on adding extra hands.
No, sure. It's the opposite because once it got off film, the industry got really cheap. Once it went to video, that was the kiss of death for the art of the genre.
Okay, Jack Horner. Easy.
And after a while, Jamie
Foxx. Yes, Jamie Foxx did what?
And after a while, Jamie Fritz, who's been my longtime marketing guy, he finally got through to me and he says, Shannon, you on IG Live. I'm like, doing what? You know, I'm like, what am I on IG Live for? I ain't hit no IG Live button. He says, they can hear. I'm like, so now, Ocho, you know, I say ask for patience. He said they can hear. And now I'm starting to get agitated again because you called me and say I'm on IG Live when I know I didn't click myself on IG Live. And he said they can hear me.
That's what he was flicking.
I said, hear me doing what? He said, it sounds like you were having sex. man, my heart sank. It dropped. Obviously, I run my accounts, but Jordan being the good Samaritan, the good soldier that he is, Jordan the one that cut it off. Because hell, I didn't even know it was
I can't even listen to this anymore. Who cares?
He cut it off how? That's the part I don't understand. That's what we need Kendra for. How does someone else?
Yeah, there's so many technical questions. It's actually good fortune that Kendra is going to be here because it's not about – because I know all about the sex part.
Mm-hmm.
You know Daddy gets laid a lot.
Sure.
But it is more the Instagram situation. The likelihood, A – get your own questions ready, but the likelihood, A, that it could go – how it would go to Instagram Live if you just threw your phone on the bed, right? That's one.
Mm-hmm.
Two is how someone else could cut it off.
Right.
But as soon as my heart would sink too, and I'd be like, oh my God, I put a video of myself having sex on the internet. This is going to live forever. But then as soon as I found out there was no video of it, I wouldn't care at all. Like, I wouldn't care in the least. I'd be proud of myself. Me, Fred Toucher. Like, if I happened to be having sex and it just was audio and it wasn't in that, I mean, I've done worse on the Ambient Fred thing was worse than having sex with no pictures.
Well, we didn't even get to the part of this, and we will at some point, the silver lining of this whole situation.
Well, the silver lining is that Club Shay Shay is still available, that he's not been canceled yet. I want to hear his apology because I hope one comes.
I think he should be fired.
And then I'll grade it. Well, of course he should be fired. Something happened that he didn't want to happen. So, of course he should be fired. He made a mistake. You can't just run around making mistakes. You got to lose your job. He's in media. It's the most important thing in the world. You can't make a mistake.
Did you get to the growling there, Hardy, when you are
the growling was not a part of it. Ryan wouldn't even let me access the growl.
Oh, yeah, Ryan's a real prude.
He's the gatekeeper.
Oh, well, no, he's not. No. If Ryan's, we won't get in trouble if Ryan's the gatekeeper, but we might be missing out on some good stuff. Ryan's a big sports guy. Not so much with he doesn't have an encyclopedic knowledge of pornography and what's allowed.
He'll get there.
It's going to take some teaching.
He's young.
It's going to take some teaching. All right, we'll be back. Miss Kendra
also
Middleton.
known as grooming.
He's an adult. All right, here's the deal, is that Kendra's here, and then we begin something that could go very, very sideways. One of the participants in our debate is here.
Yeah, he already put his bare chest up on the glass when he walked in. You missed that.
Oh, good. Well, that was pretty funny. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Toucher and Hardy, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Oh, a satisfying. All right, we are Toucher and Hardy. Kendra Middleton is here, and she does a bunch of gambling stuff. You can hear her on the Bankroll Bunch Saturdays from 7 to 9. But she is big on social media. And did you hear about the Shannon Sharpe thing?
Oh, I knew about it 10 minutes after it happened.
Okay, so here's the deal. First of all, should he be embarrassed for about that?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't think the act itself is embarrassing. I think that if you are going on Instagram Live and you don't know you're on Instagram Live, that's the embarrassing
all right.
bit of it.
That's why I wanted to talk to you about this.
Her calling him Papa, embarrassing.
Oh, she called him Papa?
A lot.
I didn't get to hear it because Ryan didn't think it was appropriate.
I'm Team Ryan with this, actually.
All right.
Yeah.
It's your generation, you and Ryan. Big puscators. All right. So how likely is it that Shannon Sharpe threw the phone and it went onto Instagram Live?
I think that it's possible that it was all. Obviously, I think that it was accidental. I think that he's genuine in that, but it's not easy to go on Instagram
Right.
Live.
Okay. So you're on it. How much time a day do you think you spend on Instagram?
Probably an hour.
Okay. So an hour. That's probably a good amount of time on Instagram. That's probably not even that much more than me, to be honest with you, if I'm being honest. I'm probably a half an hour. And so, but you do content on there, and I don't really do that. So you would have to be on Instagram, right? Throw your phone, and then it would have had to...
It's a whole process. Like, you have to open Instagram. You have to go to your profile page. You have to click add as if you're going to add a story. And then, or click on live. Like, it is like a whole... It is a multiple button
I've
push
done
process.
it. I've been on Instagram Live. Believe me, I've made many mistakes on many, many platforms. And being live on them is a big albatross for me. I cannot do that. I could now, but there were decades where that was not a good idea. All right, so that happens, and then the whole hacking thing, which was not true. When you heard he was hacked, because if you knew about it 10 minutes after, then you were following it. He said he was hacked. Can you hack an Instagram account, Kendra?
Yes, 1,000%. But he came out and said that he didn't make the decision to say that. His team did.
Oh, okay. But still, but I'm still asking you. It's not. This doesn't even have anything to do with Shannon Sharpe. This is just the reality of it. Yeah, I guess that to buy time, your PR people would tell you that it was just to say it was hacked to buy time.
Yeah, I can't remember if he said verbatim that they just made the decision without him or not. But when he was on with Ocho Cinco last night, he said that was a decision that his team had made.
He's, you know who he is? He's the Walter Cronkite of our time.
Ocho Cinco.
When in crisis, you go to Ocho Cinco.
Not the same since Terrell Owens ducked out of the show.
No, but Club Shay is still there. All right, and then what was the other thing we wanted to ask her about the Instagram, Hardy?
How someone else ends it.
Oh yeah. So then he said that like his social media guy ended it. Now, how does that work?
So, I think that someone would have had to log into his account with his passport, because obviously when you have that many followers, you're not the only person on your account. So that's how I'm assuming that happened. But what confuses me is that the entire time that video is going on, you can hear his phone buzzing in the background.
He said he had two phones.
That's what I was going to say, is that he would have to have two phones, because if he didn't, then it would have cut off the second he got a phone call. Like, I've been on Instagram Live before and someone has called me and it'll pause your Instagram Live.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because he said he has two phones.
Yeah.
One for business and one for
women
going live with sex.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know. So you think you would be embarrassed if you were him?
Not that I would be embarrassed that my mother potentially or probably did see that.
Does she think you're a virgin?
No, not at all. But the only thing that's embarrassing to me is, the fact that it took you that long to realize, like, getting on Instagram Live is so hard, and it's really just the fact that she was calling him Papa and some of the things that he was saying to her. Like,
what was he saying? I didn't hear it. No one will let me hear it.
I don't think I can say it on the air. But he was like
Can you censor it?
He was just saying that he was going to put his penis inside of her. Like, that's not sexy. Like, that's not...
He needed consent, Kendra.
Well, he wasn't asking. He was telling her.
It's implied. She could have said no. I mean, that's what's romantic. You say, may I?
Yeah.
May I?
See, consent is like a big thing. That is better than
I thought more of you.
That's better than the Papa thing.
So
he really creeped out by that.
Yeah. The daddy thing doesn't bother me, but if you're calling someone Papa and you're not like Hispanic or something, like I just think that that's so strange. That's so weird.
Because if you're Hispanic, you're more likely to call your dad Papa.
Yeah.
Okay. So like,
I love it when you call me Big Papa.
So do you think Jewish men go Bubby?
Hey, sure, why not?
That's your grand. Do you even know what that means anymore, John?
First of all, we both know that this has a special meaning to you.
Oh yeah, Bubby sucks.
So you saying it is very funny to me.
Bubby is when I'm being disciplined.
Yes.
I make them call. I call them Bubby.
Let's make sure we bring that up here.
Yeah.
Yes.
How would you feel if a guy goes like mom or like mommy?
I would never, ever. I think that I would tell him to get out of my apartment.
Yeah, that's like pretty creepy.
But also, like, women don't have that fetish the same way that men do.
No, obviously not based on what I'm seeing nowadays. Based on what I see on the sites, it's almost too much.
Also, I think Ocho Cinco on their live last night told him that he needed to work on his cardio because he was huffing and puffing real bad, and that was the whole thing to come out.
It depends what's going on. If you're holding yourself up by your hands, it can be very difficult.
Yeah, the phone was pointed at the floor. We have no frame of reference as to what he was doing at the time.
The one thing I take issue with you, Kendra, is you say it's difficult to go on Instagram Live, to which I don't know how to do it. But I've almost done it accidentally enough times, just with a couple of
swipe left, yeah,
whatever. And how many times have all of us with our phones called somebody that we haven't talked to in a while?
Yeah,
just weird things happen with your phone sometimes. Where
that's true.
If the phone is unlocked because it saw your face, and then you accidentally hit a couple of things,
but Instagram Live asks you consensually if you would like to go live,
which is the right way to do it.
You have to say yes.
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah. It's just also the throwing the phone. All right, I wanted to get into something. You can't snap at me like you did off the air.
Well, I have something else to finish about that conversation that I didn't get to tell you, so we'll finish that off the air. But yes,
in like something like I'm going to be interested in, or
yes.
You want to yell at me more?
No, I'm not going to. Hey.
She gave me quite a bit of grief.
Really?
Was I in here for it?
We were both.
Yeah,
how did we?
You both were sitting here, and see.
I got a lot of stuff coming up at 8 o'clock here that I'm also organizing.
Hardy,
so I didn't
I'm not
hear
calling you out. It was off.
No. But I'm a little angry that I missed it. If there was tension between the two of you,
fake tension or real
tension? Usually it's me and Hardy beefing.
No. She was annoyed with me.
Really?
Okay. So yeah, she was legit annoyed.
Oh, she's nodding yes. Okay.
So her and Kendra and Wallach were having a conversation about something, so of course I came in late and had to insert myself in immediately.
Sure, that I did hear.
Yeah, yeah. So I had to find out what was going on, and then start asking questions that had nothing to do with where they were in the story to catch me up, because I'm the most important person in the room.
But
I need to know everything.
You are the child that wanders into the room and wants to know what's going on in the movie, and it demands that the parents explain who the characters are and what's going on. Yeah, that's who you were in that moment.
Yeah, you don't do that to everyone? You two are talking. Yeah, me. So you're doing that. And then it got to a point where they were talking about these women. But these women walking, like the ones that walk.
Oh, okay.
And they talk on their phone.
Right.
And then they go, it's all about the gambling. And so they're walking and they're talking. And then this one woman she was talking about had basically gotten rid of a conventional media career in order to pursue this walking and talking thing. And so I said to Kendra, how much can you make if you have $250,000? And she said $1 million followers. $250,000, well, 4% a year.
You asked me what the top amount of money I thought you could make,
and you said $1 million. If that's your only. If you're on Instagram, you have 250,000 followers, but in no other, you're not like a movie star or like a rock star.
You really have to be working it, though, to make that amount of money, because it's got to be all sponsored content. But what you have to remember is that Instagram pays creators for viewership.
Okay, but you know how much YouTube pays for viewership? Yeah. It's nothing. It's fractions.
But Instagram does a creator fund thing where you get bonuses. So for me right now, I want to be putting out a lot more videos because I'm in what's called a bonus, where if I do a certain amount of videos or a certain amount of length for a video, I get more of a kickback for that viewership and the length of that video.
Okay, so how many followers do you have?
On Instagram,
Yeah.
like 30K.
Okay. And if you put like on social media, do you see a day where you could make like a living wage on social media?
Yeah.
Okay. So I could technically make a living wage on social media.
Yeah, if you did sponsored content or you like made videos.
You know what I won't do? I won't do that for the fans, man. For you guys, I keep it DIY, baby.
Yeah.
I don't need no corporate jack on my back.
Sure.
Didn't you just read an ad? Yeah.
I mean, well, that's for the radio. That's just to keep the lights on.
Don't act like you're above it.
That's for the younger generation like you to have a place to come to work if I don't do those things.
Yeah, if it
I'm
weren't
keeping
for
hope alive.
if it weren't for Fred reading that ad, you wouldn't have a place to come on and tell everyone how to follow you.
It's for me
so
and
that
Ryan
you
in
can
the
make
future.
money on your Instagram.
Yeah, this is why she has all her followers. Is this segment? By the way, Kendra is brought to you by
Exactly.
DraftKings Sportsbook, and you might not think that's important, but I've been told it's very important to say that. All right, I apologize, Kendra. You're on at a weird time, and we got like something, as you can see in the hall, going on that's directly following you. You're more than welcome to watch if you would like. It could be a disaster of epic proportions.
I saw a man walk in with an animal headdress on. I'm not sure if that is.
Is it time to say who's here?
Yeah, I can do that quickly. We have, in honor of the presidential debate, we will have our own debate in studio live.
Oh, wow.
They have not been told the questions. The moderators, Hardy will be the moderator. I suppose I could always fact check, but I would like to stay out of the way as much as I can.
Keeping the microphones on, though, right? One doesn't get turned off, so the other can speak.
Yeah, I think that's probably for the best. But if we'll have to play that by ear. But it's Robbie Roadsteamer against Bird.
Yeah,
in a debate, both interesting for different reasons.
This is.
I had an interesting conversation with Robbie in the hall when Robbie was being Robert. It sounded like it was pretty interesting. Go ahead, Kendra. Yes.
I'm just watching what's going on out here.
All right, so I apologize. I'm very happy that you came on because I'm glad to hear about like the Instagram angle, even though you snapped at me before we went on the air and it's a little hurtful. HR might call. Don't know yet. But okay, here we go. Give me some bets you're very excited about this weekend. You've made me money in the past. You made me money in week one. Let's go. You tell me.
We're trailing Brian Thomas Jr. anytime again. The books have not figured out that he is probably Trevor Lawrence's number one target. He's plus 250 this week as of last night for an anytime touchdown. He should have had 2 touchdowns last week, had one. One was recalled for a penalty. Until the books fix this, I think that we continue to chase him.
She hit Xavier Gibson last week.
Xavier Worthy.
Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
That was it. There was a great call.
And Michigan and Texas, I'd like to throw that one out there too. Boom, Texas covered the hell out of that game. So we're
well done. I was right there with you.
Michigan's a bad team.
I agree. We're gonna chase Brian Thomas Jr. until those wheels fall off. Also, I think that it's time for Marvin Harrison Jr. to get an anytime touchdown. His odds aren't as good. They're plus 140 as of last night, but I think they did him a disservice by not throwing to him more often last week, especially in that final drive of that game. The play calling in that was awful.
How did he look? Did you watch that?
I've watched almost every single game back because, like I said, I was gone for NFL Week 1. So I think that they owe him a favor this week. So that's why I'm kind of chasing him at the price that it's at.
How did Kyler Murray look?
I think Kyler Murray looked pretty okay. I think pretty okay is probably what I'm willing to give him.
Okay.
It's just the fact that he's so short sometimes, like the defensive line can really kind of get after him a little bit.
Sure.
And then I lost out if I'm not mistaken, I think the only NFL bet I lost last week was the Jets money line. So I'm going to chase the Jets this week. I think that they are pretty much, I can't say the word lock, but I think it's a great bounce back spot for them to cover 3.5 points, minus 108 against a terrible Titans team. Will Levis looked absolutely horrible last week. I think the Titans should be a lot better than they are, but it's more so of a Jets bounce back spot for me. And then we're also going to have the 49ers to cover 5.5 minus 112. I get even without Christian McCaffrey, I think that they can beat a Sam Darnold led Vikings team.
I got him at 6.5, so you're going to have to check the lines on this. The one thing I wanted to ask you, Christian, I have Christian Gonzalez. Interceptions on the season.
Okay.
At plus 1.5. Pretty much even money.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
It seemed pretty obvious at the time, and I was trying to talk myself out of it because if there's one side that teams aren't going to be throwing to against the Patriots this year, it's his side. But 1.5. He needs 2 picks all season long.
He pretty much didn't he have that in the 2 or 3 games?
Yeah, I think he had 1 game.
Yeah,
I think he had 2 picks in 1 game last year.
Yeah, so I don't hate that at all.
Okay.
Even money, yeah.
All right,
Kendra, where can people follow you? Hope you make some money.
Plus 112 actually.
Look at you, Hardy. If you haven't gotten in on the Jackson Dart for Heisman thing, we're doing that as well. And if you want a degenerate F1 play, Oscar Piastri plus 850 for fastest lap in Baku this weekend. You can follow me on Twitter at Kenny with I Middleton and at Kendra Middleton on Instagram.
Nice.
All right, thank you, Kendra Middleton. All right, the wheels may come off very soon.
They will. They absolutely will.
So we are going live to 2 very unique human beings. When we come back, we will be back. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Patriots are missing only starting offensive lineman Sidney So during their first practice of the week yesterday in Foxborough. They'll be back at it today. Their next game is at home against Seattle on Sunday in Foxborough. As for the Red Sox, they took 2 out of 3 from Baltimore this week. Tyler O'Neill, a walk-off homer in the bottom of the 10th inning. They beat the Orioles 5-3 at Fenway Park. They're still 4 games out of a playoff spot. They open up a 4-game series at Yankee Stadium tonight. And James Paxton said yesterday he's going to retire after the season is over. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the 49th Annual New Hampshire Highland Games and Festival. Get your Scott on September 20th to the 22nd at Loon Mountain Resort in Lincoln, New Hampshire. Get details and tickets at nhscott.org. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for
Erectile
Sports.
analysis of it, it's very mixed. Very mixed. No, it's either that obviously Trump, it was a disaster for him, or the moderators were very unfair.
The moderators were very unfair, but I was watching the debate. I was not watching it on Fox for once, but I immediately turned on Fox after the debate to see what they were saying about it. And the first thing I heard was, not a good night for President Trump. And
Fox said this.
Fox said it.
Whoa.
And went on and on. There was one guy who said, whoa, he put Kamala in a body bag on this point and the other point. And then they went back to the panel and they were like, no.
How would you say the Drudge Report leans?
I don't even know. Conservative, I think.
Exceptionally conservative.
I don't read it ever.
His headline was The End, and it was a Photoshop of Trump with a bunch of cats and animals around him.
Okay, so there's that. And then the grade from the Boston Globe was Kamala Harris got a C, and Donald Trump got a C-.
Yeah, I saw that.
Those were the debate grades
Fine.
from that liberal rag.
All right, Drudge Report. You want to know their headline? I mean, Drudge Report is a conservative place where they put news. Trump's 9/11, worst performance of career, 67 million viewers. That's the headline with a picture of Trump.
Wow.
So, I mean, he didn't do well. I mean, he didn't. So I don't know if he's going to win the election. I think he probably still will. But
I can imagine that we will have a similar situation taking place later today where reviews will be mixed. Some will say one person wins in this debate, the other person beats the other one. I don't know, but we have two viable candidates here, Fred.
Yeah, I think that the main thing is that the audience will believe that they lost for sticking with us.
Are we bringing them in?
Time.
Are we bringing them in now? Do we want to do the introductions now?
Yeah, let's do the introductions now. All right.
All right, here we go. Coming into the studio right now are two candidates for today's debate on all matters concerning only the two of them. Would you please welcome into the studio our very own Bird and Robbie Roadsteamer.
When Bird put his hands on my head, it felt nice.
No. Okay, good.
We got hugs and kisses from Bird.
Hugs are good.
From Robbie Roadsteamer. We've all been handed one of his campaign leaflets, which says, Make America...
Make Boston.
Make Boston.
Well, mine says, Make America.
Well, mine says, Make Boston.
Not crappy again, but it doesn't say crappy.
Right.
It's got the actual
S word.
It's the S word.
I mean, you're just handing out just filth. All right. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
Problem. Hell yeah, it's an honor. Let's do this.
All right.
HGH I am so excited to be next to this man right now. You have no idea.
You follow him?
Yes, I've been following him since early 2000s when he had his album. You had an album, right? I Put a Baby in You. Was that you? All right, this is not a tribute concert. All right, this is war, dude. All right, let's battle away. I'm just trying.
This is like when Kamala
don't compare me with her.
Shook Trump's hand.
Yeah. So hand shaking. I've been up to 4 a.m. studying you, dude. You ready?
Well, right now, he's very conservative. He's no fan of Miss Harris. All right, so
far be it from me to put words in Bird's mouth, but I believe he's referring to Robbie Roadsteamer going back to his Sweatpant Boners days.
Yes.
And of course, as a solo artist, when he gave us the song.
Yes. Hell yeah. Cause you kept talking about going to college. About my Saga 7 up on the North Shore. Now you got something to do. She raised the kid. She's doing okay.
They don't need a lot of help.
They don't.
No, they say they need child support, but is that really true?
Ain't my first, won't be my last, I told her. Now I'm a superstar. 95,000 followers on TikTok. Eat it, Kendra. Boom!
So you're making, I bet, $750,000 a year based on her math.
According to Kendra math.
Guys, if you want to pass it around right now, that's the number I'm making this month.
Oh, not bad.
Not
bad.
How much is
Let me
making?
see that.
$713.
On TikTok. I make another 500 on YouTube. Because I have followers that invest. I have men lifting weights around Revere that look at me every day because all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring back the attitude to Boston. Dirty Adderall key bumps, just the belligerence again. We're going to bring back the rat next fall. You're going to love your new Boston.
And Robbie is not a one-hit wonder. He also gave us a song that is near and dear to Fred's heart.
I'm sorry your cat has ass cancer. Kitty's knocking on heaven's door now. The band was in a good place that day.
Yeah, you were in the groove. You were in the pocket.
Yeah. Kitty's bum can't take much more. You know, because I saw this swamp witch kept posting on Instagram about her damn cat every week. You know, I'm trying to look for thongs. I'm trying to look for Kowloon crab rangoon shots. And I have to see this cat limping every day on my Instagram. That doesn't work for me, brother.
Well, listen, he's no Zolak drawing very cruel pictures and poking fun at me for missing work.
But we all know Bird, and we have to talk about our other candidate in this debate. Bird is maybe the most loved person on this show, who was a big part of the morning show for years. People know him from Fenway Park. People know him from being around. People know him for his comments.
Peanut butter and jelly. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. Timeline.
Yeah. His movie reviews with Nick. I mean, we all know who Bird is, and we all love him.
Yeah, Bird is everyone. Seriously, you can try this yourself. If you live within 30 miles of Boston in any direction, but especially north, you ask anyone if they know Bird, and they'll know someone who knows Bird.
Yes.
It's not even 6 degrees of separation. It's 2 degrees of separation.
A lot of people will be going, ooh, oh.
That is Bird.
Yep.
Bird. And I'll tell you what, the people at Curry College love when I see her graduate. They invite me there. They invite me on tours.
Ooh. Oh.
Hell yeah.
Ooh.
I hear something saying,
ooh. I'm going back in 2 weeks for alumni weekend, so that'll be fantastic.
All
those
be
guys
can
are
you not put
WTF, stop it now.
Because we once asked Bird to name a work of fiction, and Bird could not. All right, very good. And Bird also, we loved it when he answered phones until he brought in his own home entertainment system.
So we wouldn't have to listen to the
You
show.
literally were watching movies during the show.
Yes or no?
During the summertime, yes, I was, because it was slow. I will admit that. But other than that, it was to cancel all the noise in there so I could listen to you guys.
It's
yes.
months on end you were not listening to the show.
Yeah, from like June to like August.
Yeah. He would. What he would do?
It was boring during those times. I'm not going to hate on you guys, but it was boring.
It was boring,
summertime.
Fred. The show was boring.
He was getting paid to listen.
I was getting paid to sit there. Was not listening for 3 months.
But he didn't bring
sat there.
He didn't bring in all the equipment at once. It was. It was. He didn't think we'd get wise. He brought it in piece by piece. All right. Well, listen. We've constructed a bit of a debate for you two. You guys do not know the questions. That is true. Because you cannot accuse the moderators of favoring one or the other, all right?
Robbie, what are you doing?
That is off the table.
Getting in my defensive stance.
Well, you're going to have to sit through commercials.
Ha! That's the sound of Shannon Sharpe working on Michelle. Yeah!
All right. We'll be back.
Going, ooh. Oh.
We'll see how this whole thing turns out. All right. We'll be back with the debate between Robbie and Bird in just a moment.
More.
of lineman City So, the only player missing, and 8 players were limited, including Jabril Peppers and Josh Uche. In other NFL news, after missing Week 1, Christian McCaffrey is reportedly a long shot to play for San Francisco Sunday in Minnesota with Achilles and calf problems. Week 2 of the NFL season begins tonight in South Florida. Buffalo will visit Miami. Red Sox got a 3-run homer from Tyler O'Neill in the bottom of the 10th inning. They beat Baltimore 5-3 at Fenway Park last night. They're 4 games out of a playoff spot. They visit the Yankees tonight in the opener of a 4-game series. An injured lefty James Paxton said yesterday he's planning on retiring after this season is over. Sports Hub headlines are driven by the Albrecht Auto Group, Zoe's Auto Dealer. Get respect at Albrecht with 7 locations and thousands of new and pre-owned vehicles. Get the right vehicle at the right price now at albrechtauto.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app, the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Half Toucher.
Dressed like a gorilla.
Half Hardy.
A big, beautiful ball of flame.
And a whole lot of Boston sports.
And I have had many offers to become an insider.
The Sports Hub.
Decision 2024 debate. Bird versus Robbie Roadsteamer.
Yeah.
All right, we are Toucher and
It's
Hardy.
already going so well.
Brought to you by.
Oh, shit. Oh, this is a great. Let's go. Stop
Brought
the questions.
brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel.
Sorry.
And we are on YouTube if you would care to watch this. As Hardy slams nicotine in order to get through. Now, nothing better than having 2 guys in studio together in a live improvised segment. Nothing could go wrong. But we have the great Bird, who everyone knows and loves of Bird's Movie Reviews. So you're probably friends with him. And we, of course, have Robbie Roadsteamer. The Sweatpants Boners, an old colleague of Hardy's.
Right from the night show, who has also got, I think, 5 million views on his latest video where you had a certain interaction with a certain professional wrestler.
Hulk Hogan, baby.
Yeah.
I went right up to him. I'm saying, we're going to drop the big boot on Social Security. And his eyes went wide like Andre the Giant. And then his security went after me. I'm like, you're looking at the new woke order.
Right. So you're the NWO shirt on, the new woke order. I understand.
Yeah.
All right. So what's going to happen, Hardy? You are going to be the moderator of this.
Oh, sure.
Of this debate. So you take me through this.
Classic debate format. We're going to flip a coin, and we are going to decide who goes first. There will be 3 debate questions. Whoever goes first will get to choose whatever side of this issue they want.
Robbie is sniffing something out of a canister.
I need it. I got a doctor's note, dude. I have asthma.
He's doing poppers right here on the show. It's going to be a whole...
Looky here.
It's a beautiful thing.
Mason, would you like a papa? We'll flip a coin. Whoever goes first can choose any side of the debate they want. Then you will have 60 seconds to prove your point. Afterward, the other person will go and has to choose another side of this debate. Are you with me so far, Bird?
Yes.
Okay, there will be 3 rounds.
No, you don't.
We will determine a winner after each round, and then we will have an overall winner of the debate. Bird, you're sitting closest to me. I would like you to call heads or tails.
Tails never fails. Yes.
Is tails.
That's the best he's ever done on a
Would
test.
you like to go? Would you like to go first or second?
Second.
Okay, you will go second, and then we will alternate. So in the middle round, you will go first.
Gotcha.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. Robbie Roadsteamer, you will go first in round 1. The category is popular culture. Are you ready, Robbie?
I'm ready. I'm on HGH. I got tanned. Let's do it.
Of the 9 films in the franchise, which do you believe is the best Rocky movie?
Ooh.
You have 60 seconds to prove your point. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Go.
I believe the best Rocky movie ever was Rocky 4. Everybody turned on Rocky, especially that swamp witch Adrian, yelling at her husband in the hallway. You can't win! I would have grabbed her by the hair and be like, look at all the furniture here, you swamp witch. This is all made by boxing. Yelling at me, you can't win. Get out of the house. And then he had to go to Russia alone and lift weights and run in the snow. And against all odds, he ended the Cold War. He ended the Cold War with a speech in the ring. If I could win, you can. I don't remember the speech. I was on a lot of Adderall, but it was something about winning. And that Swamp Witch Adrian, thank God she died after that movie and stuff. Thank God she died. By the time you get to Rocky 5, Tommy Gunn has AIDS. Rocky has brain damage. It's a poo show. But Rocky 4 is
Thank you for saying poo show. By the way, at one point, Robbie rubbing his nipples during that, and I don't even think
I need it, brother. I need the high.
I'm not even positive that was part of the act. It was just like, let's touch the nips.
I need it.
That was totally unconscious. Yes, I agree.
All right, so here's I think might be a theme. Robbie got through that. Here we go. Now goes to Bird.
Now goes to Bird. Bird, same question of the 9 films in the franchise. Which do you believe is the best Rocky movie?
Robbie's got his back now to Bird.
Go.
I'm going to say Rocky 3. You want to know why? Because Rocky was on top of the world, Robbie Roadsteamer. Top of the world, and he gets kicked down, smashed his face into the mud by Mr. T.
Talk to the audience, not me.
Okay, sure. Rocky 3 because he gets knocked to the ground, he gets his butt kicked, he lost his trainer, he's crying right in front of his trainer. Mickey, you're gone. And who comes to save the day? Apollo Creed. And they go to LA, they start training. Apollo Creed's kicking his ass on the beach. I'm debating. No, this is serious. I'm serious. I think Apollo Creed let him win at the end there. Let him win the end of the race. There's no way because Rocky could beat Apollo Creed.
Why not?
Oh, is that a racial?
No, it's a race.
Stereotype?
Whoa. You can't beat him on the race.
I got to call you out as a moderator.
No, we've come so far, dude.
No way Rocky beats Apollo Creed on the beach in the sand. No way. So now he's coming back. He gets in the ring with Mr. T. He's got the eye of the tiger. Up it up.
That was a good encapsulation of the film Rocky 3, I will tell you that. All right.
Ryan, you're going to come in and collect these as we...
Okay. Are you judging these?
I've already written my winner down. All right. Don't you worry.
I think you both did a great job. This was the first debate topic. You
hand that over to Ryan there.
You are here to... you're doing a great job. Both of you... on the spot, got through the 30 seconds.
Right. No knowledge of these questions ahead of time. We're going to go to something that you're both familiar with, Bird, as a former employee of the Red Sox. Robbie, tangentially, I guess you were, if that's a word.
Tangentially, I worked at Fenway for 4 years. I was on a Red Sox dating show, Sox Appeal.
Oh, that's right. You were.
Jerry Remy, God bless his wicked soul, would talk about me at every game.
Okay,
and you're acting like he's the king of Fenway, bro?
Did you work for the Red Sox? Did your paycheck say Red Sox on it?
Oh, want to take me down a notch? No, I worked for Twins Enterprises. Okay. By the way, bro, the Red Sox were the only team that didn't own their merchandising. It was Twins Enterprises. So I worked for the Red Sox. John Lester had to come into the store and get his merch from me.
Okay, you asked him for an ID card because you didn't recognize him.
It was his rookie year, dude.
You left that part of the story.
I didn't recognize him.
Oh, wait, tell the story now. What happened?
No, don't.
Okay. All right.
John Lester came in rookie year. I didn't recognize him, so I asked for his ID card so we could get 50% off Wally dolls. All right?
Why did you not want to tell that story?
And I'll just say one quick thing. I also made Louis Tiant use the, I told him we had no public restroom. But he had the sunglasses on.
I like how he said you didn't want to tell the Lester story. Like, no, come on, dude. I got an image. You can't take this away from me.
But you both share Fenway Park and baseball as a commonality, so this question appeals to both of you. Robbie, you'll go first. You're forced to give up custody.
No. Bird goes first.
Bird goes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Bird goes first. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm glad we have multiple moderators here. Bird, you're forced to give up custody of your child to one of the following former players.
Oh, boy.
Doc Gooden, Lenny Dykstra, or Curt Schilling. Who do you choose and why?
Who's the first one again? Doctor Who?
Stop the.
It is Doctor Who and Kirk and Captain Kirk and everyone else.
Former baseball players, all.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Doc Gooden.
I'm gonna go with Kurt Schilling. Despite all the Nazi stuff, I think he's a good dad. Which is terrible. No to Nazis. You guys suck. Other than that, I think he's a good dad. He has 2 kids, married. His studio crapped the bed. His video game stuff, but like, you know what I mean? He's a World Series champion 2-time, and I think he'd grow up with good morals. I can't believe I just said that. Not even close. Yeah, other than that, I think he'd raise a good son. He'd raise my son well, right from wrong. Other than the political Nazi stuff, bastards.
We got 10 seconds if you want it.
No, I don't.
Listen, if every guy that collected Nazi memorabilia couldn't be a dad, I mean, that's setting the bar far too high.
Same question to you, Robbie Roadsteamer.
And you know what you heard in the presidential debate, in the 1962 presidential debate, the first one ever televised. Mm-hmm. A lot of, despite being a Nazi, I'm a fan. A lot of that. Nixon was very, very pleased. Said that a lot.
Yeah.
Despite of them being Nazis, good guy.
Yeah. He had a lot to say about the debate with the sweating.
That was a problem.
It was way too much sweat.
Robbie, forced to give up custody of your child to one of the following former players: Doc Gooden, Lenny Dykstra, or Kurt Schilling. Who do you choose? You have 60 seconds.
Well, I'm going to go with Dr. K, Dwight Gooden. Because of cocaine. I want my daughter, who's going to be a future Caitlin Clark of baseball, all hopped up on the white snow, baby. And who's a better man to get there but Dr. K or Dr. C, Dwight Gooden, baby. Well, you know what? He did crack, too. And honestly, if I can say this right now, crack is clean. It's a purified form of cocaine. The baking soda and the heat purifies the crack. And I would like that in my daughter. And I would like Dr. K, Dwight Gooden, to raise that daughter to be a beast in Danvers High School baseball. 20 strikeouts a game, pulling out her hair, doing push-ups on the mound, running up the Kowloon after the game. That's right, Andy Wong. I'm plugging you. I want Dirty Crab Rangoon by the boat room, baby. And I want my daughter and Dwight Gooden in there too, baby. Dr. K, what? Come on.
That's it.
Robbie moved from playing with his nipples to grabbing his balls during.
Oh, yeah. Anything it takes in the World Series.
It's a different kind of feeling, these arguments for him.
Well, yeah. I mean, it seems a lot more earnest maybe coming from
Talk
Bird.
about drugs, he goes down south.
Yeah.
And guys.
You know what's funny is that was a little unfair because that was Curry College's final. That was actually his thesis at Curry College.
No, but to be fair,
I just want to get invited to another
That was the oral defense of his dissertation.
To be fair, Bird had more time for his final, so that was part of the problem.
All right, very good. All right, here we go.
Final round, gentlemen, as this debate, of course, was inspired by the presidential debate a couple nights ago. Politics, category number 3. And this time we go back to Robbie going first. Robbie.
Talk to me.
During the debate, former President Trump vowed to increase tariffs on China while Vice President Kamala Harris focused on targeted restrictions coordinated with U.S. allies. In your opinion, what is America's best path forward regarding trade?
I think America's best path forward regarding trade is to keep the trains running all night in Boston. We want a ball this summer. And if America's to grow, Boston needs to grow. All right? I also want Kowloon and Faneuil Hall. That will increase trade right to Boston, all right? And no more condoms. They're a waste. If we want to increase trade, we need to increase the population of this country. No condoms, no rules. That's what I'm talking about. And we're going to bring all those new babies up to the North Shore for my car because my car runs on babies. That's what I'm talking about. I want my babies in a car. That's what I'm talking about. Make me your next emperor. We'll live forever. We'll find a cure for AIDS. We'll make sure Adderall's in every school for all these young campers to snort on little keys.
All right, very good. All right, instead of Ryan giving out the results, I think we should go question by question and just go around the three
that's
of
fine.
us.
That's fine.
Yeah, and say how we voted quickly.
Okay.
All right. So here we go, because I think that there's some interesting stuff being said here.
Same question to you, Bird. During the debate, former President Trump vowed to increase tariffs on China. Vice President Harris focused on targeted restrictions coordinated with U.S. allies. In your opinion, what is America's best path forward regarding trade?
I don't care about the trades. I don't. There's no need for trades. We have all the resources here in America. Let's not drill in oil in Alaska. Let's do that. And I love everything he said about Boston as he squats behind me.
Don't point at me.
Kaboom! Bang, bang. Look at that squat thrust. I love it. Can you do a split? I want to see you do a split.
Focus on your routine.
What you doing squats behind me? It's distracting. Get lower. 90 degrees. 90 degrees. What is this? Keep your feet flat.
You're going to rip your jeans, sailor.
20 seconds.
Take your time. Stretch it out, like they say in public access.
I got nothing else. He's got me distracted. He did his job. He did his job. I want a soccer stadium in Everett. I'm pissed that they're not putting it there.
Oh, yeah.
I want to run in that place. I could run that place.
That's
awesome. There you go. The soccer stadium in Everett, everyone's favorite issue. All right. That is the debate. Do you have the hail to the chief there, Hardy, if you would?
I do.
All right, that is the debate. The three questions. All right.
Let America decide.
There were three. We all voted, Wallach, Hardy, and I, on the three questions between Bird. The first question, who do you think won that particular topic, John?
I think Bird's correct. Rocky 3 is the best Rocky. Ooh. However, I didn't like his argument at all. I wasn't swayed by it. Robbie actually swayed me to
Hell yeah, that's your quarterback.
with his argument. So I'm going Robbie in question number one.
Yeah.
All right, Hardy.
I also agree with Bird, although I think the first Rocky is the best one. I would choose 3 over 4, but Robbie made such a compelling argument. I have to go Robbie in question number
correct.
1.
Yeah, I also went with, I agree with Bird, Rocky 3 is the best one, but I went with Robbie because Robbie made a point not many are willing to make, which is Rocky's wife, Adrian.
Terrible.
Swamp Witch.
Very cruel to him. Right. And that was really unjustified.
All right, so unanimous on question 1.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Question 2 about the giving up custody of one of your children to a former baseball player, either Doc Gooden, Lenny Dykstra, or Curt Schilling. John, how did you vote?
Can't go with Curt Schilling. Sorry, Bird.
That's right.
After that argument, I was out on you from the beginning.
That's fine.
Can't go with Curt
Schilling. That's because you said you weren't.
Atrocious
you didn't
answer.
like Nazis. That's why, and that's why John did not like that argument.
I disagree with you. While I have many issues with Curt Schilling, Bird made a compelling point right up front. He does seem to be a father. And Robbie's counterpoint of providing cocaine to the children.
Hell yeah.
What's wrong with that?
If Doc Gooden were to take custody, I just can't get on board with. So I gave round 2 to Bird.
Oh, F2, Hardy.
All right. And I'll tell you this, is that you got to be impressed when a man doesn't even need a minute to make his point. And he did clarify, despite the Nazi stuff, I mean, the guy does have kids, and that does make him a father, and I am with you. Yeah. I also got Bird, so Bird wins round 2.
Yeah.
Very good.
Finally, question 3 on politics. It was all about trade and the differences between Trump's plan and Harris's plan. John, how did you vote?
I, too, on a soccer team in Everett, so I honestly voted for Bird. I like Bird's argument there.
Oh, so right at the end there when he slid that in.
That's right.
Not saying anything for 59
That's
seconds.
Correct.
Okay, very good.
Well done.
I thought Bird's argument was essentially non-existent. He spent most of it talking about working out. I'm not sure what Robbie said, but at least he said something. I voted Robbie in round 3.
I said no condoms. You love it.
At a certain age, what's the point? I'll tell you this. I mean, you got to get, if you're a single lady, I mean, there's very, very comfortable ways to prevent pregnancy. All right. And with you, Bird said nothing.
Yes.
Robbie at least made points. So if they're good or not, who cares? I went with Robbie, and that means
my God!
But everyone did excellent. Everyone
we all won.
Participated.
Hell yeah!
We all won, ladies and gentlemen. No one swore.
Woo! Robbie's back! Who left the building? Unicorns! Showboaties! Where's the beef? Boy, when you thought you'd seen it all! When it's total despair! Road Steamer and Burr in 2024!
Oh, he's already campaigning to be a vice presidential candidate.
Hell yeah! No condoms, no rules this summer.
All right.
Adderall for everybody.
Key bumps.
He's already. What are you up to now, Bird? Very quickly. What's going on?
I'm working at Easy Disposal, Northeastern,
you
Everett
are.
High. Multiple jobs.
Oh, Everett High? All right.
Yeah, Everett High's got a game tonight, 6 p.m.
He's a broadcaster for Everett High.
Oh, I'm behind the scenes. tonight.
And Robbie, of course, is a clinical researcher at Boston University. All right. Very good. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yes!
Yeah. Robbie, social media, give them out. Where do they find you?
Just Robbie Road Steamer everywhere. If you want to see beautiful videos about the orange dinosaur on Route 1, just get out there, man. Feed me dirty Venmo money, too. I need it. Come on. I get so lonely.
Can I answer phones for a half hour before I have to go back to work?
No. All right, everyone. That'll do it. Yes. Feel free. Yes. If you would like to work the phones for free. That's
what do I
good.
win?
Not having to work the phones. All right. Very good. Dave Richard will join us in just a moment.
Diamond Dave.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, low testosterone. right, ladies and gentlemen, everyone loves Dave Richard. He's some people's favorite guest that we have. I get nothing. I've never gotten anything but positive feedback for Dave Richard. 3 ways to link up with Dave Richard and his fantasy football advice on X at Dave Richard. Live on YouTube every morning by searching Fantasy Football Today, and 3 times a week on Fantasy Football Today on CBS Network. Check your local listings. Dave joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Dave, hello, sir.
Fred, I also have never gotten any bad feedback about you. It's amazing.
Yeah, right. I was talking to someone that was on TV, and I'm like, and they're like, "Oh, I got this like negative email one time," and I'm like, "Oh, one time? That's one time a minute." We have the most. You put Boston men and the ages of the men together, and then the internet, and there is a cavalcade of just. It is not for the weak of heart. I will tell you that.
Well, you're only hearing it from Boston. I hear it from around the country and around the world. You told me to take Marvin Harrison in round 2. Yeah, that did not work out in week 1.
Well, that is not as bad as I Want You Dead. But
no, I've gotten that too.
Okay, did you ever have an off-duty detective have to come to where you work and hang out to see if you're going to die
for a week?
Yeah, we never needed an off-duty detective, but we've banned fantasy leagues from our site because of negative and extremely harsh, rude feedback that we've gotten from people who play on CBS Sports.
Well, I can give you rude feedback. Baker Mayfield, you made fun of me for taking.
Yeah, I did. And now I'm glad you still have him, right?
And what you said to start him, I still have him. And
good.
Did he have the best week of quarterbacks in the NFL?
Was it the best? I think it was up there, yeah. He had an amazing game. That Commanders defense has not gotten any better despite adding some great linebackers, and Dan Quinn is their head coach. Did not make a lick of difference. And I'll tell you what's going on with Mayfield, and he's still out there in a smattering of CBS Sports leagues. I'll check how many leagues he's still out there, and maybe you can go and grab him if you're not in a league with Fred Toucher. But he's got a good offensive line. His receiving core is deeper than it was last year, and his offensive scheme is better. Like we made a big deal about Dave Canales. Dave Canales, he's great for Baker Mayfield, and he was. But I think Liam Cohen has done a better job. I think the Bucs think so too. The secondary for Tampa Bay is beat up right now. Their best safety not expected to play anytime soon. Their defensive line, there's question marks there. Mayfield is not really available in CBS leagues. It's about 80%. I would guess on Yahoo and ESPN, he's more widely available, but he's not being started yet. I see Purdy, I see Goff, I see Tua still starting ahead of Baker Mayfield. I would not do that. I would start Baker Mayfield this week. The matchup against Detroit means it should be high scoring. That Lions defense is tougher than Washington's defense, but the secondary, their defense, their pass defense, still has question marks. So you can ask the Rams about that. Mayfield should be in for another big game. Great pick by you, Fred.
Can we talk about Mike Evans, by the way? Is he the most least talked, and not even fantasy, just least. No one ever talks about Mike Evans compared to other receivers over the last 7 years.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, Mike Evans. Do you think Mike Evans is a Hall of Famer? Don't you?
I think I can't think of reasons why he wouldn't be.
Right.
He's won a Super Bowl. Has this amazing string of 1,000-yard seasons. He's a great representative of the Bucs. He does amazing community work, not only there, but he's from Galveston, Texas, so he does a lot of work there as well. The guy is just a class act on and off the field. I don't see how he's not eventually in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
10 NFL seasons, 1,000 yards or more in all of them.
By the way, if you ever doubt Dave Richards' credentials, he knew Mike Evans off the top of his head was from Galveston, Texas. So I will give you that. Can I ask you about a particular player that is playing the Patriots this weekend? Kenneth Walker III, running back, Seattle. He's questionable. What are you hearing about him?
He didn't practice on Wednesday. He felt after the game that he was fine. So you're going to have to wait and see if he gets into practice by Friday. But even one limited practice, and he should be good to go. If you're worried about it, if you've got Walker on your team and you don't want to have happen to you what happened to people that had Christian McCaffrey, you've got to make a beeline for Zach Charbonnet. He's still out there on waivers in about 30% of CBS Sports leagues. If he's rostered, you could trade for him because he would be the next guy up. And in the matchup against the Patriots, I would like Charbonnet a lot because I think he's going to get a ton of work in that Seattle offense, and he's pretty good at catching the ball as well. We saw him wide open on a wheel route for a touchdown last week. That's the move that you have to make if you've got Walker. Try and find Charbonnet, try and acquire him on the cheap before it's too late. But in the event that Kenneth Walker is healthy and he's out there and he's playing, no question about it, he's a must-start fantasy runner against the Pats.
And I have a final one before the other guys can I finally let them ask a question. But a lot of people, 98% in this particular league, have Mark Andrews as their tight end. And in Baltimore's first game, they did not go to Mark Andrews. They went to whoever the hell the other tight end is.
Isaiah Likely.
And now
Everett's own.
Oh, yeah?
I think he went to Everett.
Oh, yeah. Well, Bird is gesticulating wildly in the other room, so I'd imagine
Must
that's
mean
true.
something.
Must mean something, as Bird played at Everett High, as evidenced by the touchdown he made us watch. Now, Dave, is this going to be the future of the Baltimore Ravens, Mark Andrews not being involved in the offense?
No, he was double teamed on pretty much every single money down that the Ravens had. The Chiefs wanted to take him away from Lamar Jackson. They know that over the last 5 years, that's been Lamar Jackson's best buddy on the field. So they tried to make them go in a different direction to beat them, and they did with Isaiah Likely. What you have to worry about this week is that the Ravens are at home against the Raiders, and the Raiders' run defense, it was supposed to be a great strength for their team. It was not against the Chargers. We saw J.K. Dobbins put up some really good numbers against them, and I'm sure the Ravens are going to try and get Derrick Henry going. And if that happens, then there's not going to be a lot left for multiple Ravens pass catchers to have a big game. But that being said, they are going to have to throw at least a little bit, and Andrews is still going to be a primary target of Lamar Jackson. I'd be surprised if Andrews is out there on the field with Likely, with Zay Flowers, that the Raiders are going to emulate exactly what the Chiefs did, because they don't want to get beat by Flowers or by Likely. I think you'll see Mark Andrews see more single coverage this week. I would still start him. I might have lower expectations, but I think that he'd still be the better tight end of the two in Baltimore.
Dave, the receivers for Buffalo are very questionable, or I'm not able to figure out exactly what the game plan is. Buffalo plays Miami tonight, which is why I'm bringing it up. But Dalton Kincaid had a big year last year. He got targeted twice last week. I'm not sure who Josh Allen is throwing the football to. Who do you pick out if you have a Buffalo Bill on your team?
I still think Kincaid will be the one that ends up leading them in targets. He's just too big and too good of a matchup nightmare. And I think this is a good week to use him. Short week against the Dolphins. I'm not sure if Miami's got somebody that can really cover him from play to play. I don't think they're going to put Ramsey on him. And even if they did, Ramsey got beat by Brian Thomas last week a bunch. I think the Bills are still trying to figure it out too. And what we know is Keon Coleman is the receiver that Josh Allen kind of earmarked for his front office in the draft, said, I'd like to get him. Khalil Shakir is more of a slot receiver, but Josh Allen trusts him. You saw that he scored a touchdown last week. Curtis Samuel is a receiver that Joe Brady, their offensive coordinator, has had success with before. We'll see if Josh Allen can get into a groove with him. And then I think Kincaid's the one that's primed for the breakout season. We just didn't see it in week one. I'm hoping that we see more of it from Kincaid tonight. Kincaid's a start. Shakir is at best a flex. So is Keon Coleman. Prefer them in PPR than non-PPR. Everyone else in that receiving core kind of sit on and wait to see what happens.
All right. So I want your opinion on this. I listened to WFAN yesterday and 2 days ago. But I've heard things from other places. How did you think Aaron Rodgers performed on Monday night, and what does that mean for the rest of the season for him and the Jets?
Well, I think that just like as a passer, I don't think he was terrible. He just didn't throw a lot. I think the whole Jets offense really wasn't that great. How many missed throws did he have? A couple. The interception, it was what it was. And the offensive line, I think that underwhelmed the most. That would be the thing that stands out to me, is that the offensive line didn't do a great job of protecting him. He was sacked once, but he was pressured a bunch. I think that Rodgers is still going to be how do you call Aaron Rodgers a game manager, you know? But sometimes he's going to make throws that are just perfect and, you know, placed 10 out of 10. And sometimes he's going to be rushed a little bit. And as you get older, you know that you don't move as fast as you used to. And maybe you don't even think as fast or react as fast as you used to. And so these were all issues that I had with Rodgers coming into the season. It's why he was nowhere near my top 12, nowhere near a starting fantasy quarterback. And this week against Tennessee, the pass rush isn't going to be as bad, but the secondary is, man. The Titans secondary is really good. And what they try to do, because they've got 3 really good cornerbacks plus good safeties behind them, they try and give their pass rush an extra second or two of tight coverage so that the quarterback has to hold the ball just a little bit longer because those defensive backs are on top of the receivers there. And that helps the pass rush get home. They totally frazzled Caleb Williams in his first game. It's part of the reason why no one on Chicago had a good game. But there were some close calls. Keenan Allen should have had a monster game. DJ Moore was open for a touchdown. Caleb Williams didn't throw to him on it. I think that there's still room for that Titans pass defense to give up some plays. I just don't think it's going to come this week against the Jets.
Any other thoughts, Dave, on Seattle, the Patriots opponent this weekend? Because, there was we've been talking about it here for a couple of days. There's a lot of unknowns in terms of what they're going to be capable of. It's a feeling out period for a lot of teams. We know some of their players, but in terms of what they're going to be able to do differently against the Patriots that the Bengals didn't seem to figure out in game 1 or week 1.
I was a little disappointed in the Seahawks offense, to be honest with you. I thought the offensive line, kind of like what I said with the Jets, I think they let down a little bit. It took Kenneth Walker getting a couple of big runs for him to get over 100 yards on the day, and they leaned toward the run, and I thought that they would lean more toward the pass this year, and maybe there will be games coming up. I don't know if this week against New England is going to be one of them, but there will be games coming up where they're going to have to lean on the pass, and why shouldn't they when they've got Lockett, Metcalf, Jackson Smith, and Jigba? That's a great receiving trio. Definitely felt let down by DK Metcalf, though. That one of the things that I was told before the season was that he was going to be a focal point of the offense. They were going to move him around, and he really looked like 2023 DK Metcalf, whereas Tyler Lockett has looked like 2018 Tyler Lockett for the last 6 years, and here he is leading them in targets, catches, and yards again. I think Metcalf could have another iffy week against Christian Gonzalez, but I think the other 2 receivers, JSN, Lockett, keep an eye on them. You could use them in DFS, maybe consider them as PPR flex plays. I think they might be able to get open on those short and intermediate routes against the Pats.
All right, Dave Richard, check him out on Twitter over there, YouTube every morning, Fantasy Football Today, 3 times a week on Fantasy Football Today on the CBS Sports Network. Dave, it's always a pleasure, sir. Thank you so much for the time.
Fred, did you win in your league? You started big.
I had the best score of anyone in the league.
Holy moly.
This is unprecedented territory.
Yeah, this is uncharted territory. Technically, you're undefeated.
Yeah, because I had Mixon and Walker, and they had big days and everything else.
Okay, so see what you can do to get Charbonnet. I don't know who your bench running backs are, but I bet they stink because it's you.
Yeah.
But I would imagine that doing what you can to get Charbonnet will help support you with that Seattle run game that is doing better than I thought it would.
All right. Thank you, Dave Richard. We appreciate it.
Sorry to give you a little negative feedback there.
Oh, well, how dare you attack me that way? I just told you what people do. They threaten to kill me. All right, Dave, thank you so much. We appreciate the time, sir.
Later, Fred.
All right. Why is Robert Kraft, you probably heard it by now, but you haven't heard our take on it. Why is Robert Kraft not getting into the Hall of Fame? Because he's not cool. And I mean, that's seriously what it is. He's not cool. We'll explain, but that's really what it is. I'm not even being cute about it.
See, I am interested to hear your assessment of this because that is, I have my own reason, but his cool factor.
I say, do you ever tell your kids like, "Hey, whoa, like you gotta be like a little, you gotta be like a little cooler than that."
Yeah.
There's a certain way you have to behave, or you're gonna be a dork that no one's going to like.
Reminds me of a Modern Family episode when one of the kids is trying to teach the other one how to be cool.
All right, very good.
No, I got you.
I'm like the Fonzie in my house.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Sports Hub headlines.
make every moment more with FanDuel. All right, so there's this article randomly in ESPN.com. You've probably heard about it by now. It's long, but I did read it in all fairness. I could sleep. I didn't have to get up before 5 yesterday, so I had the energy to read. And it's about why Robert Kraft's not getting into the Hall of Fame. First of all, there's some funny stuff in it. Like, these guys are ridiculous. We've often made fun of this. But, like, you have a guy advocate for you. They have 5 minutes to advocate for you. And his is Bill Polian. And Bill Polian's like, I lost sleep. I couldn't sleep after he didn't get in. Shut up. People are dying. There's problems in the world. There's hunger. Relax about you can't sleep because you didn't get a billionaire into the Hall of Fame. Have some perspective in life, dumbass. You sucked as a GM too, and you're not a very good commentator. They keep moving down the rung. You're essentially a podcast now, and not one of these $100 million ones. But here is why. It's not that he got the hand stuff. It's not the Spygate. It's none of the cheating. It's none of that. What it is that he wants it too much. He's trying too hard. He's not cool. You cannot, if you want something, you cannot let someone know you want it that badly, or else they're just going to think you're a dork and not give it to you. That's exactly what's going on. As evidenced, remember when that dumb documentary came out on Apple TV?
Yep.
And we played stuff. It was good because we got to play stuff off of it. But it was really just crap you could see on NFL films. And the Hernandez stuff was not particularly in depth. If you're a Patriots fan, I guess it would be fun. But also boring, I would assume. Like, why would you want to watch 20 minutes of highlights from a Super Bowl that you've already seen like 3 times?
The real interesting stuff is when they had the players talking about Hernandez in the locker room. But
sure.
You're right about the other stuff.
Sure, and they didn't even go into the Orchids of Asia stuff. They didn't do any of it.
They skipped right over that.
But what did we say during it? And it's not like we're geniuses, but we said that if the Krafts had no documentarian, no one can call themselves a documentarian and give the subject of their work final edit. And that's what happened. Kraft had this dumb book, Dynasty, written about him.
Yep.
And then they optioned it to be, and they got a lot of money for it. They optioned it to Apple Plus. They went to a guy who's like actually considered a good documentarian. And the guy, according to emails and sources, was shocked that Kraft wanted final edit on the thing, and he ultimately went, go screw. I'm not doing this. As he should. I don't understand taking the short money. If you're a documentarian, you watch documentaries, both of you, everyone does. It's not like some great sign of intellect. But if you're a documentarian, like the amount of time it takes for these guys to do things in a great documentary, the amount of luck, right?
Yeah.
Required to like get things happening. Like hundreds of thousands of meters of film, like days and days and days in real time of
just
watching
hoping
footage.
Something happens that is going to be like compelling and not just part of a scripted story that people want out there, because you sit down for a documentary and you're interviewing, but you're still playing a role and you're doing an act. So you just gotta roll on everything and get something unscripted and true and honest and authentic.
Or going back into like archives and sifting through it all. So my point is, I'd imagine you have a passion for the medium, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't just go make documentaries because you want fast cash. That's why whoever did this is such a dumbass, because anything that he's attached to, if I'm one of these, if I'm anyone, I'm like, I'm not going to fund this. You're just a mouthpiece. This was just a big ad for the Patriots.
Right. So this is the thing, because, again, to bring up something that you have made quite a bit of sport of, Fred, we had the documentarian, the director on the day when you were not here.
Right. I remember
Convenient.
that. I remember that.
And he insisted that there was no final edit, there was no editorial control.
He lied.
So at the very least, the first person that they approached to turn the book into a documentary said, no, I'm not going to do that. And they moved on and they broke up. The next guy that they went to, they magically worked out some kind of an arrangement, even though the deal breaker in the first one was not part of the deal for the second one. Okay, whatever you say, But what ended up coming out was a very pro-ownership 10-part series that we all watched. And even though after the fact, Robert Kraft said, I wasn't happy with it, with the way things were portrayed. But the things he wasn't happy with was they didn't do enough on the 21-game win streak.
Yeah.
They didn't do enough on, certain aspects of the winning. Well, okay, anybody's going to be, I guess, unhappy with that. But overall, how could you not be happy with the way you specifically as the owner were portrayed in that? So whatever agreement was or wasn't in place, they got a much friendlier version of it than they were going to have the first time.
Bill bad.
There's actual emails. It says, I gave Robert a preamble about passing the New York Times test, Gibney wrote. His response, who gives an S about the New York Times? They're wrong about a lot of stuff. This is just between you and me, Kraft, because they wanted to, Apple TV would have like a final say on some things. And then Kraft says, this is just between you and me. You and I can make the deal. Apple doesn't have to know. Alex, it seems to me that you like Apple more than me, Kraft said, that he was getting increasingly angry. So that all happened. The guy turned it down, and then Kraft just went to a lesser documentarian and said, you do it, but there's no rules? Come on.
Not likely. Not likely.
So the guy's going around doing press lying.
But the reason why we're talking about it, Fred, is it is believed by some of the voters for the Hall of Fame that this documentary, the book, all this is part of this massive push to get Robert Kraft into the Hall of Fame. And they feel this is too much. Why are we being pushed this hard? I mean, you put something out as a 10-part miniseries talking about how great you and the team and the franchise are. We get it. We've seen it. We're all voters in the Football Hall of Fame. We don't need to be hit over the head with it. And if you do that enough, the natural reaction for anybody is going to be, well, now I'm not going to do it. Now you're being such a pest about it. We're just going to table this. I'm not saying you're never going to get in, but holy crap, if you beat me over the head with this stuff this much, my inclination is to say, well, then maybe something about this isn't right, and it isn't so automatic. So I'm gonna step back for year after year after year. We're gonna let in the guy from Denver who was having serious health issues. That's a good reason for him to get in. And look, it's probably going to happen. It's probably going to happen in the next year or two because the rules are changing
I don't know.
and they're separating.
I wouldn't vote him in with all this hard-on stuff.
The separation now between the contributors and the coaches.
The difference is the full court press is off. According to this article, Stacey James, who is the director of media relations, who's been responsible for this full court press, you sent the book to voters. He's been, trying to contact as many voters as he can each year. He has stopped doing that. You get the separation that you were talking about.
Well, just because you stopped doing it doesn't mean it happened. It's too late. You had a book written to explain it's propaganda about how great you were, and then on top of that, you had a documentary made about how great you are.
But the distance,
I would not want
fades into the background, and
there's
I don't
no
think it's
distance.
a year or two, but maybe it's 5 years down the line, maybe longer than that. Then Kraft gets in because his other credentials are unquestioned.
Well, no, Kraft deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know why he cares so much. To be honest with you,
that's the weird part.
Jerry
too.
getting in. I think Jerry get him in.
Yeah, but who cares?
He does. He cares.
Okay, you would think it's never enough. Like you would think that 6 Super Bowls and now you're old and let's just have fun.
And $11 billion.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't really
for
need
these guys. It's not enough.
Well,
how many deals? Jerry has more money than 4 generations of his family can use, and he still wants more.
How about you meditate a little bit and maybe really realize how much this really means in the grand scheme
somebody who
of
can
things.
buy anything butts up against something that can't be bought. That makes that person want it even more.
Then you're never going to be happy. Then you're just never going to be happy. You're just ultimately going to be miserable. I mean, you could be the richest guy in the world and be miserable if that's your attitude. You could be the poorest guy in the world, and if you have some kind of Zen attitude, you're going to be happy.
Well, you're not the richest guy in the world, and you're miserable. So what's your excuse?
But I'm trying to figure out why.
Okay,
all right, that's progress right there.
Yeah. And I know this, but having a lot of stuff, not having gratitude for it, and being super butting up against crap that you can't have, that's someone else's decision, is not probably the best recipe for happiness. I mean, I think you would agree. All right. Phil Perry's here.
Nice.
I actually thought Tom Brady came in when he walked in.
Oh, he's a handsome man.
I think Phil's been spending a little extra time at the NBC gym there.
Really?
I mean, he's always been fit, but
all right. Well,
a little tighter shirt today.
Good for you. I don't know what he normally looks like, so I'll have to.
Good. And today
very
he looks
tall, unlike a lot of other Patriots people.
No, he's not as tall as me.
All right, we're going to measure you guys.
Okay. We'll be back. Just so that's clear.
All right.
We'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening. Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
Patriots are missing only offensive lineman Sidy Sow during their first practice of the week yesterday in Foxborough. The home opener is Sunday against Seattle. The Seahawks are without top running back Kenneth Walker at their workout. Week 2 of the NFL season begins tonight down in South Florida with Miami hosting Buffalo. The NFL Network and others are reporting that it looks like San Francisco top back Christian McCaffrey's a long shot to play this weekend for the 49ers. He remains with Achilles and calf problems. As for the Red Sox, they took 2 out of 3 from a good team this week. Tyler O'Neill's walk-off 3-run homer over everything and left handed them a 5-3 win over the Orioles in 10 innings.
Nothing out of the usual. Just trying to get a ball over the plate that I can do something with. Just saw something pop out of the hand and put a good swing on it.
Sox are still 4 games out of a playoff spot. They open up a 4-game series at Yankee Stadium tonight. In other Sox news, James Paxton said yesterday he plans on retiring after the season is over. And in college news, the Pac-12 Conference is ready to rebuild after losing almost all of their schools in the last 2 years. Yahoo Sports and ESPN report they're going to add Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, and San Diego State by 2026. All 4 schools could make that official as soon as today. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Foxwoods. Nate Bargatze's The Be Funny Tour is coming to Foxwoods Resort Casino. Tickets available still for Friday, September 20th at 9:45. Get tickets now at foxwoods.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
Boston, the greatest sports town in America.
We have a farm. I have about 200 pigs here.
We get to spill beers on each other without worrying about spilling beers on people.
Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Hey, if your alarm clock sounds like this is the show for you. Toucher and Hardy, The Sports Hub.
When I've talked to people post Hall of Fame, whether it be Stacy, whether it be Jonathan Kraft, I'm not calling the day of, I might talk to Stacy the day of after the Hall of Fame. Those people are more crestfallen than they say Robert is. Robert, when I've asked, well, how's Kraft doing with this? He's actually all right with it. He just doesn't expect to get in now. So he doesn't have his hopes up. He's had his hopes up too many times. We've seen that with Jim Rice. I was talking to Stacy on Wednesday. He said that's how Mike Vrabel and Bill Parcells were. Hey, you're a finalist for the Patriots Hall of Fame. Yeah, great. Cool.
Stacey James should make a lot of money if he doesn't, because I don't know if there's many other people with that position in the NFL or any sports franchise that have their names dropped as much as Stacey James. And that's a man, by the way. A lot of people confused by the name Stacey, but it's like Stacey Keach.
Oh, I like that.
If that helps.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not really. Sorry.
You don't know who Stacey Keach is?
No.
Did you ever see Up in Smoke, the Cheech and Chong movie? What else was Stacey Keach in?
No.
Okay.
I do know Cheech and Chong, but I just don't know. I'll check him out later.
That's very good.
You we'll do it now.
Yeah. We're going to do it now. Everyone hold your horses. By the way, Phil Perry is here. He is, of course, covers the Patriots for NBC Sports Boston. He's on the station all the time. He's going to join us now every Thursday at this time for a couple breaks, as we are very good. It's good to have him. All right, Phil. Okay. I've heard all the analysis of week 1. It was the first time again in my life that I had found myself not instinctually rooting against the Patriots. I guess not having Belichick is a big thing for me. Great win, biggest dog of the week. So, you hear about teams treating the first couple weeks of the season as a kind of like an extended preseason. A lot of compliments to Mayo having a very physical camp. We can turn these lights off, guys, if you would. I'm trying to look at Phil and I'm being blinded. So Mayo had a very physical camp.
Right.
So my question is this, in your opinion, for the Patriots, that's awesome. Have a physical camp, come out of the gates going. But for a team that wants to have a long playoff run, maybe that's not the best modus operandi, because you obviously want to have something left in the tank as the season goes on. Is that part of the reason for the Patriots' success in week 1 in that, or maybe their success they'll have early in the season, is that Mayo was able to make that trade?
Yes, I believe it is.
Okay.
And it's because the Bengals have basically told us what their plan is based on how they handled leave the guys with the contract situations out of it. but how they handled their starters in preseason. Those guys just didn't play very much.
Right.
So they weren't targeting week one. They weren't looking at week one and saying, we want to be at our best when we kick that ball off to start the 2024 season. That just wasn't how they approached it. The Patriots, on the other hand, I think have to do that to try to steal as many wins as they can. I think it's additionally important, beyond just the winning and losing of it, when you have a first-time head coach, not even a first time in the organization, but first rookie head coach, period, to be able to have your team experience some level of success, to me, is critical to maintain the buy-in that you have and that I think he really did have during camp. I mean, it's a youngish team, but there are a lot of veterans on the roster that I talked to after camp that said, damn, thank God we've got this week now in between the fourth preseason game and the first regular season game, and we've got that extra time to rest because our bodies need it, because that was a hard camp. And this is guys like Jabril Peppers, who have played other places, who played for a number of years. So that was a real thing, and it definitely helped them in week one. But I think it helped them on the other side, too, because the Bengals almost treated it in the opposite fashion.
Yeah, and it's interesting, and I totally agree with you. I think it's great for Mayo, and I think it's great for the team. And any win that you can get this season is important, because like, seriously, for culture and everything else.
I understand. This is a season we all agreed 4 or 5 wins. To get one right off the bat, especially with the schedule looking the way it does, if you go 0-4, 0-5, 0-6, not only fans but the coaching staff's like, oh God.
But then if you're ownership, you don't know. I mean, what am I going to do? Like, I mean, if they can't win, and I know we're not good, but we're not. I mean, we're flailing, and so you have that. But the reason I asked you that, Phil, it's not even so much the Patriots, it's just the reaction to some of these teams' performances in week one. It's like, all right. Like I mean, seriously. They're horrible. And like, yeah, no, they're not. You don't know anything. To say that is one of the more ignorant statements based on week one. Go ahead.
But something that you said, Phil, about Cincinnati and how they kind of treated this game, and it doesn't take anything away from the Patriots' win. If anything, I use it as a means to show how well and how good things are going with Gerard Mayo at the helm here. It was the Bengals who screwed up with a guy who is not a first ever coach of a football team, with a seasoned quarterback in there who is supposed to be really good, who, whether they took the Patriots lightly or whether they were completely undone by the injuries that they were dealing with offensively, they were the ones who were ill-prepared and not ready to go. And I don't believe that it happens all that often. We talk about trap games and teams get caught looking ahead to the next week. That wasn't the case with Cincinnati. I really don't believe it. I think they were just not as well prepared as the Patriots were, and you got to give credit to Mayo and the rest of the team for their preparation and having the more professional operation going into week one in a matchup with virtually any other team in the league. That's a huge win, because that was one of my big questions the offseason for people who were saying, they'll get 5, 6, 7 wins. Well, how's Mayo going to be as a head coach through week one, through camp and their preparation, and through how they got them ready for week one so far? It's impressive.
I would say it's been a good couple months for Mayo. I know the quarterback conversation got a little wonky at times, right? Especially in terms of the messaging, and Drake May's actually out playing Jacoby Brissett, but you're going to play Jacoby Brissett week one. But between how he handled the Judon situation, which I think was actually handled pretty well, and he was able to sort of assert himself as a coach who's going to have some standards, and you're not just going to be sitting on trash barrels and sitting on blocking pads and watching us in a sweatshirt and sweatpants while we're out here for the first day of pads and practice. So can you just get the hell off the field, please? And then he's traded for a third-round pick. They actually end up getting a pretty good return for him despite that. And the fact that they start the season the way they did and they had the camp the way they did, and he does have buy-in from those veteran guys. I just think it is critical, even if they played well and lost. I think to have the win early off the board is just so important for validation. It's just it's shown that you can do it at least once now. And if they had gone 0-4 to start the season, even if they were improving incrementally, if guys were still bought in, if you don't have that result on the board, it's really hard to get the belief the way I think you have it right now.
Yeah, if you're the coaching staff or the front office, you have to have a great sigh of relief that you have that win. I mean, absolutely.
Across the board, coaches, Robert Kraft, everybody.
And if you win this Sunday, which is possible, unlikely but possible, if you win this Sunday, I mean, then there's a tremendous, but you know what? But then you're almost in a situation. This is just complete nonsense. But you're in a situation like where then if you start like losing, people are going to be like, oh, they peaked at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, right.
But you know,
I think it's interesting. You were talking about overreacting to things. I don't think anyone's overreacted to the Patriots.
No,
that's unanimous.
No, but there are teams that lost or didn't like particularly play well. Like, does Cleveland have a bad defense?
No.
Is Cleveland's defense bad?
No, they got shredded, but they're not bad.
Yeah, like they're not. Deshaun Watson sucks, but there's like a big long history of that, and now it just is getting worse from off the field. But that defense doesn't suck. Like, it's not going to be a bad defense. But you hear people going, Cleveland's in crisis with that. All right, calm down.
You feel the same way about the Jets?
Yeah.
Because the Jets' defense should be excellent.
Yes.
And they weren't the other night.
I think that there's going to be, without Reddick without Huff or whoever the hell they got that they traded for, that there's going to be a problem with their pass rush. But no, I don't think that the Jets are going to have a bad defense this year. And I don't think that the offense is going to be that bad. No, I don't think the Jets are going to give up 6 straight possessions with 8 straight possessions with the score. No, I don't think that's the case. I think people completely blew that game out. I think
that's fair.
Now, listen, the Jets might not make the playoffs. Jets could even lose to the Patriots. Not saying that's not off the table. It probably is, but I'm saying it's not definitely
off the table, Fred.
But I don't think they're a bad team. And by the way, no one in New York does either. Like, no one that I've heard or read in New York is like panicking. It's just nice to have a quarterback that's not the worst quarterback in football. You know, It's a little bit nice in that fashion. All right, and I thought Rodgers was fine. All right, we'll be back in just a moment with more from with Phil Perry.
Sports Radio Network. The Pats and the Seahawks. The home opener on the station where you'll hear every single play. 98.5, the Sports Hub. On the air, online, on the app. This is how Boston sports fans start their day. Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 the Sports Hub.
Hell yeah. Underrated.
That's strutting music.
Yeah.
That's music that, like, Cobra comes in strutting.
Remember the band?
The Tube.
School of Fish.
I have no idea.
3 Strange Days, baby.
Didn't play it. What year?
96.
Oh, yeah.
No,
That's
earlier than that. I think it was 93.
Turn yourself up. What? I can't hear you.
I think it was like 93, but I'm gonna check on that.
All right, because 93, as we all know, to about 99 is a complete dead period of time.
91.
I consumed no popular culture from the year late 93 to about halfway through 99 when I got my first job.
So does that mean you have never seen the movie American History X?
Now, this is what's fun.
That is a fun movie. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit over the top, a little too influenced by the Buster Keaton movies.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of madcap comedies, it goes a little too far at times. But
as Nazi films go,
right?
No, but listen, he turns it around. What was great is when starting in 99, I would Seinfeld would be on in syndication, and I had never seen any of them. Like, there was all this stuff I hadn't seen. It was like getting out of prison, waking up from a coma. I was like all these like songs, like
wonderful things that had happened in the world.
Yes, for instance, when I went to 99X and we started playing, I didn't know one band we were playing. I only knew the bands that I listened to, and we weren't playing any of them.
Right.
I didn't even someone went to me and they showed me like Rolling Stone and Green Day were on the cover, and I went, who made this? Like, they're like, no, it's Green Day. They're on the cover, and I'm like, that band from San Francisco, the Oakland band, and they're like, yeah, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, when did they become famous?
Oh, boy. Well, I bring up American History X. Phil, you've seen the film?
Yes.
Stacy Keach is in American History X.
Oh, okay. He's the big Nazi
back in.
He is Cameron, the lead white supremacist who starts grooming Ed Norton's little brother.
Oh, sure.
Okay,
I'm
so that is
Stacy Keach right now.
So we're talking about men named Stacy. Of course, Stacy James, head of PR for the Patriots, and behind the big push for Robert Kraft to get into the Hall of Fame, which has fallen, I guess, not on deaf ears, but maybe on ears that have said no, not yet. And this was the subject of a big column yesterday. The whole idea that the push for Robert Kraft to get into the Hall of Fame
turned everybody off.
It's too much. Fred's point is that it's just not cool. It's like wanting to join Augusta National. You can't let it be known that you want to join Augusta National.
It's like getting a woman to like you. You can't be overzealous. You have to.
Right.
There has to be some mystery. There has to be some idea that you are chasing the carrot. Or once you gotta. There's got to be a ebb and flow to the thing. You understand what I'm saying?
But Phil, something tells me that you feel, just based on our conversation off the air, that the voters are not innocent in all of this.
So first of all, I'm still wrapping my head around this transition that you just made. You're an incredible professional, going from American History X to Stacy Keach to Stacy James to Robert Kraft's story on ESPN yesterday.
It's true.
Phenomenal stuff by you.
Yeah, I was in the other room cutting ads, or I would have done it.
I would have come up with that same thing.
So we talked about this a little bit last night on BST. I feel like on the Robert Kraft ends of things that we learned from the story yesterday, there wasn't a whole lot that was new. We knew that he's concerned about his legacy, right? We understand that he would want to be in something like the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The most interesting part to me is that the Hall of Fame voters are not like a beautiful woman who you have to try to make want you to not pursue them in order for them to want you.
Yeah.
They are not like the cool kids in high school where if you ask to be in the club, you can't be part of the club. These are football writers. These are oldish for the most part, and I went through the list yesterday, football writers. And I feel like they've sort of lost their place when it comes to their responsibility. They are curators of the history of the game. If you care about the history of the game and you care about the people who have helped make the game what it is and who have helped allow the best franchises who have written the history of the game themselves to be what they are, don't you kind of have to put the cool kids thing aside if that's how you feel about yourself? Is there not a little bit of pettiness that comes through in this story?
A tremendous amount of pettiness.
Okay, that you just, because the guy is asking to be in, you're going to say no?
Okay, yeah, but
is that the reason?
But that is human nature, Phil, and that's the thing, is that I would like to think I was above that, and if I was being completely non-introspective, I would say I was, but I'm not. I would be the same way. I'd be like, all right, Hard-On, like, you want to get in so bad? F you. I'll let some guy that doesn't want to get it in. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it could go both ways. You're talking about, let's just call them a bunch of nerds. And I know a couple of people, I think, who have the vote.
Not
right?
Peter King, though.
Peter King has a vote.
Yeah, he's
Borges?
Cool.
Borges.
Okay.
Yep.
So these guys, but just for the sake of this argument, let's just call them all nerds, right? If you finally give the nerds the ability to be the cool kids, and they're the ones who are allowed to let someone into the club,
they're hall monitors.
How are they going to treat that responsibility?
That's what I'm saying, and I don't think it's wrong for me to say, grow up.
No, that's absolutely true.
Grow up. He is qualified. He should be in. It's an absurd conversation.
But what was interesting about the article is that it's not like the massage parlor or Spygate or any of this stuff. Like, it's just like you want it too much. Like
we don't like you.
That's what's interesting to me is that, like, and, you know, they hide behind like these things, and I think it is better for Kraft, right? Like you haven't done anything so unforgivable that you shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. It's just I want to do it. Like, that's the kind of the thing. But that, unfortunately, is human nature. And when we're at our worst and we see – and you know what? Maybe because they are football writers and they're older, it's even more of a factor because they're not like I know what you're saying. They're not like, you know, like celebrities and stuff like that are like, you know, guardians at the gate. They're not running the velvet rope. But the thing is that maybe they go, you know what? You're a billionaire. You have enough. Like, get off my back with this crap. Like, I don't want to do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why do you want this so bad?
Their responsibility here, and this, I'm going to go back to something I use a lot because I think it's really good, and it's Tom T-Bone Morgan's phrase that he said years ago when it comes to Hall of Fame, and he said, "Can you tell the story of blank without blank in it?" And in this case, can you tell the story of football without mentioning Robert Kraft? You can't tell entire decades worth of the story of football without mentioning Robert Kraft. It's impossible to do it if you're telling the whole story.
But he let you know it by having a book written about him and then having a documentary made about that book.
I think to Phil's point, so what? Maybe you don't like the way he's pushing for it, but if the job is to tell the story of
then
football...
Then let someone else tell the story. You don't have to tell the story. Let someone else do it.
But I don't think that should be prohibitive when it comes to his place in history.
Because you're being reasonable.
This is the standard by which the history of the game has been kept.
Because you're being reasonable. And it's up to humans to do it. No, it's actually a virtue, but you're being reasonable, and humans aren't reasonable. We do things like this. We're petty.
There are parts of the story that are laughable to me. Like, what is the part about the ninjas and the shadows that are keeping Robert Kraft out there? So what is it? The assassin. There's an assassin group. There's a silent assassin.
Yeah. Silent assassin.
Like, what are we talking about?
The people
These are retired football writers.
Yeah. So the football writers who a lot of, they say a handful of them do most of the talking, and then there are these silent assassins who will come in Fred, I'm sure that during your fraternity days, when somebody wanted to get in, somebody would swoop in at the last second. Some guy who hadn't been at the fraternity house in years swoops in and goes, oh, no, I know that kid's older brother. He's not getting in. Like, come into the last second just to blackball somebody.
Sure.
Like, that's the silent
Like they tried
assassin.
to do this. Like they tried to do to
Steve Sanders.
Yeah, you were looking at that. And Rob Chuba put one of them positive ones
Ping
in.
pong balls, a white one in the left side. Yep,
Kid-
and it
kid I went
started
to high school
momentum
with.
the other way. Yep.
Kid I went to high school with.
90210.
Sorry to get your thing off.
No, it's just it seems like now the path has been cleared a little bit by the separation of the coaches from the contributors. And if he doesn't get in, I don't know, the next year or two, then you have to look at it and say, okay, now there is a systematic effort to keep him out. And I'm sure the Patriots are arguing that already, especially after Jerry Jones getting in. And, Jones getting in, I think it was Stacey who asked, how did that happen? And the guy said, he's P.T. Barnum. Well, aren't you doing a bunch of P.T. Barnum stuff yourself? Look at here, the greatest show on earth. We put the greatest show on Netflix or Apple. We're literally putting the greatest shows out there to show that Robert Kraft needs to be in. But they still look at Jerry Jones like, well, but he's okay. He's the man.
Jerry Jones built 100,000-seat arena in honor of himself. At least they play football in it. He didn't write a movie about himself, about like how he's the man.
I think a book's coming.
Yeah,
and he's already in the Hall of Fame.
But he's already in the Hall of Fame.
That's the thing. The timing is a little different.
Plus, he's flawed, like openly flawed, and not massage parlor flawed, like whipping it out in the bathroom and letting chicks take pictures of it flawed. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Which it makes him, in some people's eyes, a more relatable figure and a more likable person.
Yes, that's why I have a job.
I get that. I would just say, and Tom Carr made this point on our podcast yesterday. He said, listen, I think the documentary was getting made one way or the other. If he had been put in the Hall of Fame, Robert Kraft had been put in the Hall of Fame 10 years ago, don't you think there'd still be a book? Don't you think there'd still be a documentary?
Do you think he would have?
I think there would be.
Okay, but would he want final edit of it?
Probably.
Okay, well then then I don't like him. Then I don't like him.
It's
I don't
like a
like
journalistic integrity thing.
Well, I'll ask you. You're a writer. You're obviously you went to Northwestern. You just said. I mean, like
went to Georgetown.
Or Georgetown, same difference.
Much better school.
Well,
tremendously better.
I mean, if you want to go to a religious school, all right. So, but the deal is this. So you obviously don't you? If you're a documentarian, can you make a documentary and allow the subject of the documentary to have final edit and call yourself like a true documentarian?
No. Nope.
Right. Yeah.
And they insist that was not the case. I mean, we did interviews with these guys after the fact, and they insist. And what about the Kraft name being on the credits at the end? Nope. He did not have final say.
It's nonsense. There's no way the other guy handed ESPN all this stuff, all these like correspondence we had with Kraft, handed it to him, and they were making a better documentarian with a better resume. And they just said, go screw, and then took another guy who doesn't have the resume and said, do whatever you want.
Don't you understand the push, though? Because of Robert Kraft's age? I mean, he's into his 80s.
No, I get wanting to be into
the aggressiveness of it with a group of people. Again, the hall monitors, the 50, St. Peter's keeping guard at the pearly gates in Canton, Ohio. They have not shown an ability to get people into the Hall of Fame who deserve to be in the Hall of Fame while they are still upright.
If Kraft was sick, I definitely think he gets in.
The guy in Denver, they were putting in because it's like, he's not long.
Ken Stabler, Don Coryell, who just went in. All these posthumous inaugurations or inductions, are like ridiculous because these guys have been Hall of Famers for decades.
Yeah.
And then you decide to put them in so that their daughter or their son can accept the gold jacket. Like, thanks a lot.
If Mad Dog Mike Russo says that if he had one quarterback he had to win a game with in the history of the NFL, it's Kenny Stabler. The snake.
It's amazing.
Maybe it was one series to win a game. The kid had ice in his veins and a lot of bourbon.
4-down series, or a quarter. Yeah, give me a quarter.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he says. He loves Kenny Stabler. All right, Phil. You passed.
Thanks, guys.
You did really well.
Appreciate you.
You've been working out, Phil.
This was a lot of fun.
When you walked in, you had that backpack slung over both shoulders, and it stretched that T-shirt across your pecs. Oh, and I took a long look. I took a look longer than I should have.
You don't have to stand for that, Phil.
Seriously.
Don't let him look at you.
You look good, is what I'm saying.
It doesn't matter
totally
if he says you look good or not. It's like saying.
Comfortable with that, Artie.
Yeah. All right.
Where do you find time?
I actually have it, which is what makes it even more thrilling of an experience.
Your gains are in the kitchen, not in the gym. That's where
That's
most
right.
of the gains are in.
Smart
It's
man.
all protein.
What? Diet.
All protein, good fats. Don't worry. We watch what.
Yeah, I just see my way out of this conversation.
He's got an OnlyFans where you can come on and just watch him eat.
It's just scrambled eggs.
Yeah, that's it. And avocado toast. I watch Love Island. That's what they have for every breakfast. All right, Phil
All right, boys.
Perry.
Thank you.
NBC Sports Boston, thank you so much. We will be back with our award-winning stack. There will be no email segment today. Phil's taking that away from you. But I'm sure everyone's very upset. We'll be back in just a moment after the headlines.
another.
This is why you need us.
98.5, the Sports Hub. Now, more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub. We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. And Hardy, what do we have for the people today?
First off, Fred, I wanted to get your take on something we discussed yesterday when you were not here. You had taken ill. Glad you're back. Glad you're feeling better.
Thank you.
Dave Grohl posted, I've recently become the father of a new baby daughter born outside of my marriage. Plan to be a loving and supportive parent to her. I love my wife and my children, and I am doing everything I can to regain their trust and to earn their forgiveness. We're grateful for your consideration toward all the children involved as we move forward together. Dave.
Okay. Two women reached out to me yesterday and they said, can you believe this? This reeks of the John Mulaney divorce in that people like, can you believe Dave Grohl did this? Like these women. And the thing is, it is impossible to be faithful with what they're doing.
Can you stop right now? Would you shut your mouth? Last night at dinner.
What'd you say?
Shush.
I thought you said, can you what in my mouth?
You and I have not discussed this at all because I think you and I both saw the same thing, and I had not talked about it with my wife until we're having dinner last night. And it's weird the things that she sees on social media and doesn't. I would not have been surprised if this escaped her attention, even though it was all over the place. She's like, oh, yeah, and so is really upset about it. She's yelling about it. And I'm like, yeah, come on. I mean, so what? And she said, what do you mean? I'm like, he's maybe the biggest non-nostalgia rock star in the world. He has been a rock star for 30 years. This is what you're supposed to do. You go out there and you have sex with all these people. And I said, it's like the Chris Rock joke. A man is only going to be as faithful as his opportunities. He has opportunities every single night. And he's a rock star. When did this become like the most hand-wringing, pearl-clutching thing? Oh, my goodness. A massive worldwide international rock star fathered a child out of wedlock. I'm not saying it's right or his family should automatically be okay with it, but I'm saying how can you be surprised?
He's a nice guy. He's really nice. It's part of the reason for his success. So women, I think much more than men, are like, well, those guys don't cheat. And it's more than just your opportunities. It's like you could turn down, and these aren't just like groupies coming backstage, like celebrities and stuff, like models, and say you turn down 10,000 of them, and then like the one, one out of every 10,000 women you sleep with, that's pretty easy to justify. And then say you're John Mulaney and you're married, and Olivia Munn, you're like kind of a dork. You grew up kind of a dork, like you were a writer at Saturday Night Live, so you were kind of like low profile. Maybe when you work in the Comedy Cellar or wherever, maybe some like women after shows would flirt with you, but it was never some big thing. And then like this like beautiful, famous actress starts like really paying attention to you. I mean, he's a human being, this is what people do. Think about justifying it. Like if you went on tour and didn't cheat ever, given all the opportunities, and then like this tour after that, you cheated once. Couldn't you tell yourself, I mean, come on, guys, let's be real. I turned down that whole tour. I was good. And like, so I screw up one time. That you could justify it easily.
Well, the longer I talked last night, the worse it got for me. And then I tried to save it by saying like, look, if he's like, And this is where we actually started having a conversation. I thought it was interesting. I said, the real issue will become, did he just father a child out of wedlock, or does he have like a whole other relationship and family going on? Like,
No,
is this?
I don't imagine that.
Well, what if he has like a girl that he's in love with and he has like fathered this child? That becomes a whole separate issue. I think on that we all agree. It's
okay,
like,
Sacha Baron Cohen tells this story, and he goes, it's about Liam Gallagher, and he's at this GQ party. He's getting an award with GQ. And I'm going to tell it very quickly. So he sits next to Bono, and Bono's sitting next to Liam Gallagher. And he says to Liam Gallagher, look, I'm going to tell a joke about you. At this thing, he goes up there, he doesn't tell the joke. Story is, Liam starts yelling at him, and Bono whispers to him, you're okay as long as you're sitting next to me. All right. So Sacha Baron Cohen, the point of the story is, can you believe it? I'm at a party with Liam Gallagher and Bono. I'm sitting at the same table with them. I'm talking to them. So you're Dave Grohl. That's the circles that you're running in. So you're going into these places, and there are not only beautiful women, but beautiful, famous women that are paying attention to you and flirting with you. I mean, it's. I mean, I think it's very difficult for people to put themselves into that position, because and maybe it's a male thing, but it is these like nice guys. But he's a nice guy. Well, yeah, but he's a guy, a human being, and it's not even like, you know, he slept with all these women. It's like, well, he got a lady pregnant. Now, it sucks for his kids. Like, that sucks. But, you know, there's no way. I don't think there's any way any guy. I mean, think of all the high-powered people that were supposed to be above reproach. Like, Martin Luther King had affairs. Like, it happens. Gandhi! Didn't Gandhi had affairs?
So this is
yes, I believe it is true, unless it was just the Seinfeld.
Okay, so
with the goiter lady.
Why does Dave Grohl release that statement?
Because the woman to get ahead of it,
and to maybe stop the woman who is maybe saying, "I'm going to have your baby, and I want $10 million to raise this child, or I'm going to tell everybody." He said, "Or I'll tell everybody right now, and we'll work out a nice support plan."
Or he feels really bad, and he knows it's going to kill his kids. Like, it's going to hurt his kids. It's going to hurt his kids. And he's like, let's just do this, and now I'm going to handle it in my own family.
Yeah.
Because I don't doubt that he feels really bad about his kids. But I imagine that you can justify cheating on your wife when you're getting those opportunities.
Numbers from the Manning cast are in from the 2024 season debut, and the numbers are not good. An all-time low of 872,000 viewers. Previously, the broadcast had been just around 1 million. A 43% drop, though, from week 1 in 2023. 43% down from week 1 last year, the Manning cast, which I don't understand because, Fred, we watched a bit of it. We listened to it. It's really good.
Yeah, you know, that third down play that they hit Wilson on in man coverage.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
My question is, can they measure what the viewership was halfway through it as opposed to the start? I'm thinking it's 400,000 halfway through it.
And by the way, that you go, well, that's 800,000 people. Well, the NFL had a record week, and there was like an average of 23 million people watching every game or something ridiculous. So all you have to do is like get someone to turn into the wrong channel. It's not. It should be easy to slice 1.5 million people off that pie.
I think that third down play to hit Wilson on in man coverage is gonna slow down the 49ers.
Yeah, and by the way, the people, a lot of people are writing like about how, I think Volan has a thing, and he's like, you know, Belichick should be the one in the booth.
Yeah, I saw that this morning.
Huh?
Yeah.
He's horrible. That wasn't good.
Well,
if you liked what Belichick were doing, that's awesome, but that's because you are a very, very specific audience. You want to hear, you love Bill Belichick, and you want to hear him talk very in depth about football. He'd be horrible in the booth. That's not what they want. He has a bad personality, not just no personality, a grating, terrible one. Go ahead.
We talked about this on Tuesday. about what he should be doing, which is reviewing game film at halftime of the national broadcast.
In a satellite studio. Where they go to him first.
If everyone has to be on the field, and have him at a separate desk on the field from the main
Oh,
six
you can't
guys.
have him in the field.
Whatever the case may be.
You got to have him in his own area.
That's his strength. That's what he should be doing for NBC or Fox, or take your pick. Even better yet, have him at halftime of the game Brady does. Be perfect.
And you know what? Brady, they're going to remove Brady. They're going to buy Brady out of that contract.
Eli, you were saying solid
It's gonna be
these
Hall
past couple
Wilson.
weeks.
Because Brady failed in front of 24 million people, and then once that first impression's made, you can't get over it.
The spin is, well, they don't need him to be good now. They just need him to be good in February when he calls the Super Bowl.
Nah. He should have been better than he was, and he'll never be good. So what they need to do is bag out now. It's like they gotta find a way to get out of it.
He's got the perfect out, though. He can quit. He can say, look, I really want to focus on my ownership stake in the Raiders, and I can't do both jobs. That's been made clear to me. So he's got an out. He can do it
I wonder
himself.
if they're already working on something in private. Like if it's been broached, just his agent or like his representation and Fox have broached the subject.
Well, no, if he leaves too soon, it's going to make it look like he quit. Maybe
he can say I didn't like it.
He could say that too, but I think Hardy's right. He's going to say, you know what, I can't effectively prepare for this job because I am limited by the access.
Or how
that
about
I have.
But that's only my theory. I want this to know because I think he's going to be really good. I think he's going to turn it around, Fred.
Because it's really difficult, and you wouldn't know right away if someone has charisma. I will tell you this: like you could screw up and talk over people or not talk enough.
Yeah.
But what charisma is something that you cannot teach, and he does not have it, ladies and gentlemen. Plus, his face looks weird now.
Let me tell you quickly who does have charisma, and that's Jason Tatum. So much so that he has authored a children's book. You know what it's called?
What?
Baby Dunks a Lot. He says it's based in part on the relationship.
What's it about? A baby with donuts and coffee or something?
No.
Chip Chipperson, ladies and gentlemen.
It's about his relationship with Deuce Tatum. And he told CBS that the book is like sharing his family's routine and story with the rest of the world.
I have a book about my relationship with Deuce, but it's no children's book.
I'm not giving you anything for that.
I'm
not giving it to you.
It's a love-hate relationship. I love when you hate me.
What is it with the children's books? Everyone
'Cause
wants
they're easy to write.
And you get a lot of money for them. And you get a lot of money for them.
I don't know like how much money you make, but they're easy to write. And if you catch lightning in a bottle, dude, Craig Finn, the singer of the Hold Steady, has the whole Hold Steady, I think, have a children's book out.
Good night noises everywhere.
All right, that'll do it for us. Bye.